No time for considered opinions today. Both of these teams, as early as it is during the season, simply have to get a win today. Clint Wilden with you on ABC Sport. The Swans are 0-2 to start the season, but they have come up against two very hot teams on the way here. While Fremantle, for the start of a season that had so much hope, were nothing short of dismal. First time out against the Cats, belted by 78 points in a most unconvincing performance. There are no late changes. The subs for Fremantle, Josh Draper. For Sydney, it's Angus Sheldrick. Fremantle starting to look forward to seeing Shea Bolton at last in the purple as Luke Jackson plays game 100. Beautiful day for footy. Bit hot if you're playing. Great to watch. Blue skies, top of about 34 degrees. Mitch Turner's alongside me. G'day, Mitch.
G'day, Clint. Beautiful day for footy, apart from the fact that it is a little bit hot, but that's what you get this time of year when the footy season starts. Nice and early. Looking forward to a really good clash. The last time we know, Sydney fell just short, and the Dockers did the job on Sydney's home turf at the SCG. So excited to see who comes out on top today. As you said, they both desperately need a win.
Sydney lost last time out against these sides. A very close one at the SCG. As we welcome our listeners throughout Sydney and Canberra News Radio to Perth Stadium. The Fremantle Dockers up against the Sydney Swans. Sydney went oh so close, going down by a point. Round 17 last year. Logan McDonald not playing today, missing after the siren to give the Swans victory in that game. And both teams would love if they can somehow get the 4 points today. Dean Cox still searching for his first win as Sydney coach. Let's hear from our experts. Great to have them alongside us. Two Dockers captains in the second row. Peter Bell, dual premiership player, Hall of Famer. Cara Antonio, All-Australian. Welcome to both of you. What are we expecting?
Thank you, Clint, Mitch, Belly. Good to be here. Beautiful day for footy, Sunday afternoon here in Perth. I'm excited for this clash. I know, obviously, Sydney wouldn't be happy with the 0-2 start after being grand final contenders last year, and then Fremantle really disappointing and almost embarrassing loss last week. So both teams looking to bounce back, and what better way to do it on a sunny Sunday afternoon, Belly?
Yeah, Cara, not tough enough, not ready, not skillful enough. So they are the words not of the most ardent Fremantle critic, but the senior coach himself post-match. So they need to respond, and they get a wonderful opportunity in perfect conditions in front of a home crowd. The inclusion of Shea Bolton as well, who will make a difference, but won't be able to make a difference if Fremantle are not somewhere near even in the contest, and they were obliterated by Geelong. So I think there'll be some nervous Fremantle fans out there about what type of performance and team effort they're going to see today against a quality opposition whose game is in good shape, irrespective of that 0-2 scoreline at the moment.
Well, you're right. It starts inside the contest, doesn't it? And the first 5 minutes, I think, will be pivotal for the Fremantle side. We expect them to come out and respond, the hunt, the pressure at contest. And that forward connection, for me, they can't play into the hands of the Sydney defenders. They've got to lower the eyes. They've got to hit up the leads. Or, likewise, get it in long and deep. Get the smalls to work at the ground level. Bolton's a fantastic inclusion, but you can't play into the halfbacks of Sydney because we know they like to run and dash.
That's a great call that you've made. The Fremantle went at almost one kick for one handball last week, and what they did was hot potato, pass the pressure on to someone else. Geelong swarmed over the top of them, and they couldn't handle that pressure. Look for Fremantle to really test the tackle. I think that's what Justin Longmuir was talking about. What he doesn't want to see is just handballs trying to get over the top or through opposition arms and body pressure. So he'll want the Fremantle players to drive at the opposition, try and absorb that tackle, and it's all about getting that ball from the inside to the outside. And once you do that, you're more likely to get in a bit quicker and do what you've just suggested. Get it in to a one-on-one with a bit of space and give your forwards a chance.
And the other one, just lastly, I'm looking forward to seeing who James Jordan goes to. He absolutely smashed Lachie Neale last weekend, kept him, I think, to the 10 touches. So it'll be interesting. I know it's been spoken within the four walls of Fremantle and then out in the media with Caleb Sarong coming out saying they're ready for whoever he goes to. They've had a bit of practice in the pre-season, so that's one to watch.
It is, and it's crucial because Jordan is a very disciplined tagger, which you have to be. The other one, it wouldn't surprise me, is if he locks down Jordan Clark, because I feel like opposition teams see Fremantle's back seven as not the most attacking back seven. So if you can cut Jordan Clark out, then where are they going to get their drive from the back line from if it's not Jordan Clark?
Toss the coin, Mitch Turner.
There we go. Both onto it. Very quick as a flash. Toss of the coin. Clint was won by the Dockers home side. First win of the day. Toss of the coin going the way of the Dockers. They'll kick to the city end of the ground, which is the right of our broadcast position. The Swans to the Graham Farmer Freeway end.
Belated welcome to our listeners who've just joined us from Victoria, South Australia, Tasmania, the Northern Territory, and of course on the ABC AFL stream from North Melbourne versus Melbourne. Bright sunshine here. As I mentioned at three-quarter time in your game, going to be warm. Started at about 32 degrees, expecting a top soon of 34. Let's head downstairs before we get started. Akash Fodadar with us. Akash.
Good afternoon, Clint. Yeah, it is hot down here and expecting a hot contest from two sides desperate for a win. Looking at the benches for Fremantle, starting on the pine, Bailey Banfield, Neil Erasmus, Nathan O'Driscoll and Luke Ryan. Josh Draper is the sub. And for the Swans, Riley Bice, James Rowbottom, Peter Laddams and Corey Warner are on the bench. Angus Sheldrick is the sub for the Swans.
Looking forward to seeing Joel Hamling back, game 93 in the AFL today.
And sorry, Clint, make no mistake that is a message to Luke Ryan, starting on the interchange. I can't remember the last time he started on the interchange, so poor performance last week, and that's a message from the senior coach.
Thoughts of Peter Bell alongside Cara Antonio. About to get it started in a game that means so much, despite it being so early in the season. Dockers belted last week. Swans have lost two. Let's get started. Here's Mitch Turner.
We're underway here at Perth Stadium. Grundy v Jackson in the ruck. The Dockers win out. O'Meara was able to get it to Jackson in game 100. Goes inside the forward 50. Tracy in front was nudged down a bit. Falls down the way of the Swans. Rampy. High clearing kick to the wing. Off hands. Chapman onto the ground. He was taken high.
Buckley down. Hurt. Shoulder. Maybe a stinger.
There he is
middle
in the
of the ground.
Middle of the ground. Tom Patley will keep a close eye on him as the Dockers go forward. Chapman to Brayshaw inside the forward 50, right forward pocket. Tracy went up, couldn't mark. Tucked in close to the boundary line. Rampy and Amos go at it. They're locked up. The two number 24s. They'll have a boundary throw in. 40 seconds gone. First quarter here at Perth Stadium, deep in Fremantle's forward 50s.
He's told the trainer to go away, Papley. Rolling the right arm over, trying to work it out. Heaney, kick towards left half back. Amadi was able to work it on. I'll spin around here through Campbell. Kicks the Swans down the commentary wing. Pierce did well, got in front of McLean, but his hand pass was intercepted. Doing well, Hannelly got it on again. This is Papley who's involved. Hand pass through McLean, back to Papley, kicked around the body for the Swans towards left half forward. Amadi marks, too far out to score himself. He'll flare it across half forward. There is Hamling, the former Docker, marking plays onto Jordan from right half forward into the right forward pocket. He hits Hayward on the chest. He marks 35 from goal, about 8 in from the boundary.
Jordan started on Sarong there and just got on the right side, lost Sarong in transition and was able to lower the eyes. Great lead by, I think it's Haywood, and fantastic connection piece by the Swans early.
Really aggressive, weren't they, the Sydney backs in running to the open side, and they were good enough to find Hamling onto Jordan. And you're right, Cara, beautiful kick inside to Haywood.
2 goals so far this season. 202 in his career. To give Sydney a terrific start, just 2 minutes played. Haywood for the Swans, steers it towards goal, he's missed. Minor score. One behind the Swans. The Dockers yet to score. 2:12 gone opening turn. ABC Sport, Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner, our experts Peter Bell and Cara Antonio.
Jordan Clark doing the kick-in duties today. Takes a little trot, kicks it long into the middle of the ground. Pack forms in the middle. Tracy took a strong mark, immediately gave it off to Johnson through the middle of the ground. Kicks wide to left half forward. Voss takes the mark. Amos leads back at him. He decides not to go there. Crowd didn't like it. Patrick Voss has gone a long way back from the man on the mark who stands just inside the 50 in Joel Hamling, the former Docker.
God, Amos had heaps of separation there. He just had to let it go. Great lead. Has to go back and kick it now.
He has taken the responsibility, Pat Voss, into the side this week. Kicks it from 55 metres out, and it is just away to the left. A minor score to open for the Dockers today. That is their total score. 1 behind Fremantle, 1 behind Sydney. We've played 3 minutes in this first term.
Swans with the kick in, sent it immediately towards McCartan, who marks it left half back. Comes down the line. Clark did well. For the Dockers, he got in front of his opponent in Campbell and won it over the Dockers interchange. Gates right on centre wing beneath our broadcast position.
McCartan playing on Josh Tracy.
Grundy stands alongside Jackson. Takes front position, Grundy for the Swans. Jackson at the back in game 100, won it down, but it went to Warner, the Chad variety. Gave it to Papley. Hands it off to Jordan. Short hand pass now to Lloyd from centre wing. He kicks the Swans. It'll go just inside forward, 50 at left half forward. No one could mark. Bounces down at the back, gathered by McLean. Hands it on to Papley, sends it towards goal, but misses. It's across the face and bounces through for a minor score. Sydney, 2 behind. Dockers, 1 behind. 4 gone first quarter.
Thought for all money that was going to curl back from Tom Papley on the drop punt. Right behind the kick. Wasn't able to find the first major. Clark will kick it in again, staring into the sun as he goes once again long up the middle, flying from behind. Jackson couldn't mark, falls down to ground level. Tracy, he was tackled strongly, managed to get the ball away to O'Meara. His handball cut off. The Swans have it back. Wicks, middle of the ground, little short 5-metre kick, straight to a teammate, got it back to Wicks. Now Jordan, set upon by 2 Dockers. Jackson and O'Meara got him cold. The man who's normally harassing the opposition teams, he was the one under siege. Then James Jordan holding the ball. Jackson wins the free kick, goes wide to Wagner, now to Frederick. Still a kick and a half from home. Broadcast side of the ground. Will set it up into the middle of the 50 for the Dockers. Kicks it into that area. No one home but Blakey. Spilt the mark. Voss through traffic. Found Bolton in his first game for the Dockers. It's high. It's not long enough. The crowd stood on their feet. It's punched through by Hamling for a rush behind. And it is 2 behind Fremantle, 2 behind Sydney. 5.5 played. Almost the perfect start for Shea Bolt and Clint Wilden.
Not quite for those in the purple. They rose around the ground. Swans head into the right back pocket from Blakey. Able to move it on here to Lloyd. Sends it back to Blakey in his defensive goal square. Goes up the corridor for Sydney to Chad Warner, who marks. Inside his defensive 50, handed it off to the run of Rampy. Thumping kick that'll bounce it right half forward. McLean runs onto it, gathers it beautifully, kicks towards goal, misses. Amati was surging into the forward goal square for Sydney. Instead, McLean decided he would go himself. Misses right. 3 behind, 2 behind. Sydney over the Dockers. 6 gone in the first.
Once again, playing on from the defensive goal square of the Dockers. It was Wagner on this occasion. Went to Pearce, who was outpointed in a 2-on-1. They did well, though. Support from Sharp. Got it back to his captain. Now the looping handball back to the run of Sharp, who continued on. Has to stop and poise on centre wing. Little sharp kick inside. Finds Brayshaw. Immediately wants to go quick. Gave it to Walker. Wasn't the best decision. His handball, it's almost turned over somehow in the middle of the ground. The Dockers have won it back. Johnson got it to Chapman. Stab pass to half forward. Finds Sarong. 55 from home. Like something in the pocket. Sees a lead. Offered. It was Murphy Reid. Oh, the explosive debutant from last week. He had all the space in the world. Just had to find him. Caleb Sarong. And he kicked it wide. It bounces out of bounds for a boundary throw-in.
Spun back into play. Grundy front position, won it down to Heaney. Tackled by Jackson. Got a hand pass out under real pressure. Scooped up by Driscoll. He was run down by Campbell. Comes out for the Dockers now to Frederick. He's tackled as well. The pressure is immense as the ball tumbles along the boundary line. O'Meara thought about picking it up. As he did, was tackled by Florent. Got a hand pass out to Sarong. Tried to get it on in turn to Pearce. Knocked down here by Wicks. Wicks was able to share it around, run straight into a strong tackle. Just got rid of it though. Cox dispossessed as he tried to get it for Freo. They're forced back to O'Driscoll. Comes back again towards Clark to Chapman. Tackled by Papley. Hands it off to O'Driscoll. Corey Warner into his back. Clark got it a second time. Hospital hand pass given to O'Meara, and Papley got him and took him to ground. That was frenetic play.
Yeah, ball security and ball retention so important.
Thrown up again. Just forward of the wing for the Swans. They win it down. Heaney gathered immediately. Bounces a kick inside forward 50. No one can take it cleanly. On the ground, the Dockers captain in Pearce. Sarong picked it up, gave it to Chapman, went looking for Brayshaw, battling away up against Roberts. Dockers fans thought Brayshaw was impeded. Umpires thought differently. O'Driscoll picks it up. O'Meara, clever hand pass to Banfield. Banfield moves it on immediately again. They work it forward. This is from Erasmus. Now towards Brayshaw. Runs towards right half forward. Kicks the Dockers the full forward. Tracy juggles, turns, kicks the goal. Made absolutely sure of it. Josh Tracy, the Dockers have got the first. It comes nearly 9 minutes into the first term. Saw the opportunities, he turned around, banged it onto the boot. Freo 1-2-8, Sydney 3 behind.
Just incredible pressure all over the ground, isn't it, Bally? From both sides, and it will be who will just be able to sustain and, I suppose, absorb that pressure and make the most of opportunities. But as I spoke about pre-game, get it in nice and deep to the one-on-ones. Defenders look a little bit shaky when there's no support in the air aerially, especially the backs of Sydney. Fantastic bodywork by Tracy and a really nice finish.
And I love the fact that Andy Brayshaw took the grass in front of him, took 10 or 15 because it got in deeper and out to the back, and McCartan was in an awful position. And well done, Neil Erasmus, a sweeping, clean handball. You're right, Cara, the pressure's been unbelievable in this match so far.
The Dockers with the first off the boot of Josh Tracy. Ball back in the middle. Grundy beat Jackson. Neither got a hand to it. Jordan, he got the clearing kick. Bouncing ball inside the forward 50 for the Swans. Off the ground level. Clark got it to Chapman. Ran into a bit of trouble under pressure. Had to return, give it back by hand to Ryan. His kick up the wing. Found Frederick. Got in front of his opponent there in Bias. Was able to take the mark. There's a runner over the top in O'Driscoll. Kicks it in front of him. Marks, plays on immediately. Nathan O'Driscoll. Kick into the pocket. Was looking for Amos. He managed to get away from Rampy, but couldn't get back to the ball in time. It rolls out of bounds.
He had to present earlier, Amos. O'Driscoll put it out in front of him, and I reckon if he had reacted quickly instead of looking for body, he would have run onto an uncontested mark inside 50.
25 touches last week for Nathan O'Driscoll. Good start today. Ball spun back in. Jackson to the front, tapped it down. Sarong almost took it. The Swans, they win possession back. High kick from Lloyd. Trying to clear defensive 50. It goes over the head of everyone. O'Driscoll's the first to gather. He's tackled by Bias. Just outside right half forward. Dribbling kick inside the 50. Erasmus, he lost it. Laddams gathered. Off to Warner. Little dance inside a phone booth, and then eventually outside of the boot it finds Campbell. Took a strong mark opposed to Walker. Still just beyond left half back. The Swans trail by 5.
There's no time. There's no space today. Comes from Campbell down the commentary wing for the Swans. Hayward thought he got knocked in the back of the head as he went to ground. Pearce picks it up for the Dockers. Stabs it short, finds Frederick. Hand pass on to Ryan. On the ground now to O'Driscoll. Arches the back, runs inboard. Not a great kick. Bounced away from Sarong. Scooping it up though. Brayshaw for the Dockers. Hands it back to Sarong from right half forward. Kicks into the right forward pocket. Amos went to ground. Bounces up, battles away, gathers. Spills the ball, goes to ground again, allows Blakey to pick it up. Worked it short to Roberts, just beyond his defensive 50. His kick is turned over, marked by Cox, diving forward just in front of the logo commentary wing. Dockers lead by 5, 11 and a bit gone in the first. Short pass to Johnson.
Johnson, right edge of the centre square, kicks it straight back to that hot spot inside attacking 50. Off hands, comes to Banfield, gets it to Sharp, run down from behind. Tackled by Corey Warner. Ball comes back the way of the Swans. Warner ran into trouble when he got it back. Comes to Sharp. Handball to Tracy. Snap around the body. That's 2 for Tracy. He's kicked the only 2 goals of the game. And after kicking just 1 last week, he's got a double already in this first quarter. And Fremantle have the early advantage. 2-2-14. They play the Swans just the 3 behinds, 11-point margin, 12.5 minutes into the first term. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sports. Our experts, both former Fremantle captains, Cara Antonio, Peter Bell.
Fremantle defenders, and I suppose all over the ground, their press is really good. Sydney really struggling to get it out of their back half of the ground, and Fremantle a number of re-entries, getting it in deep, getting your tools to at least compete and then get the ball to ground. And I suppose Josh Tracy is a tool, but the beneficiary of a nice crumb and a nice snap.
They've kicked the opening too, Freo. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Bounce in the middle. Grundy palms it down for the Swans. Jordan slapped it forward. Grundy soccers it off the ground. Wasn't quite what he wanted it to do. Only in the path of Wagner, who marks it right half back for the Dockers. He'll kick long in the direction of Frederick. He stretches. Couldn't mark up against Bice. Banfield took it and then got shoveled over the boundary and actually into the fence by Blakey. Probably just protect himself from going into the spectators then, Bailey Banfield.
Opportunity for Sydney here. Grundy's opposed to Voss in the ruck, and Paddy Voss hasn't done a lot of rucking through his short career to this point.
They lock arms. One down by Grundy. Tapped it over his shoulder. Went it on to Hanley. Here's Campbell. Ran straight in to the Wagner tackle. Hurried kick forward. Intercepted in the way of Pearce here. Goes back by hand to Sarong for the Dockers. Up the middle comes Clark. Moves it to Reid. Murphy Reid kicks towards left half forward. It bounces for Johnson to run onto. He runs the 51 out. Kicks inside, full forward. Diving. Frederick couldn't take the mark. Scooped up at the back by Bice. He's able to give it to Lloyd. They try to hand pass their way out of trouble, and they're in genuine strife. Sydney. Boss's kick was smothered. Came back to O'Meara. Got tackled. Well done coming from Heaney. Clearing kick from Campbell for the Swans into the middle of the ground. Hayward's out after it alongside Ryan. Ryan missed it first time. Will get support. Chapman running back for the Dockers. Picked it up. Hand pass to no one in particular. Heaney was there. Happy to receive it. Came to Corey Warner. Working it forward to Florent. Tapped it back to Heaney. Almost tackled. Then by Clark. Just got rid of it. Johnson soccers it. Trying to get it to his own advantage. Stands in front of Heaney as the ball goes towards the boundary line. And he'll shovel the ball forward. It'll take a left-hand turn. And that's been called deliberate. Wow. Not sure you could say that his intent wasn't just to try to work it down the line. Guess he didn't have quite enough intent to keep it in play. Dockers lead by 11, 15 gone in the first.
It's wrong because the other option was to guarantee take it out of bounds. So the intent was to keep it alive, I'd imagine. But it's a weird rule, that one. There's been a few of them this week. It's been one of the hot rules. There's always one. Sydney have the ball. Short kick from Roberts to Heaney. It wasn't 15. Play on called. Heaney back to Roberts. Kicks inside the forward 50. Big pack flies. Marty from the back. Tried to bring it to ground. McLean gathered it off the deck. Handball to Hayward. He's missed again. Snapped it too far around the body. Minus score. Sydney 4 behinds. The Dockers 2-2-14. Akash Fodor downstairs.
Jeremy Sharp is just doing some run-throughs and walk-throughs on the boundary. He came off to have a right shin issue attended to and has some fairly heavy strapping on that right shin now.
Wagner has it for the Dockers in the right back pocket. Kicks long towards the wing. Blakey's there. Juggles it. Marks. Beg your pardon. Laddams. Bit taller than Blakey. Still with the long mop of hair.
How many haircuts has he had over his career? A lot.
He's had a few. First time we've seen him, though, in season 25. He kicks into the side, the forward 50. He's lost that in the sun, I reckon. McLean's allowed to gather. He kicks around the body. It'll bounce towards goal. Ryan leaps up in front of the behind post to gather. Pressure came from Amadi. Got it to Wagner. Hand passes a bouncy ball into the ground. I'll try to work it down the line. Again under pressure, Erasmus came to Campbell. Sent it back towards goal for Sydney. Corey Warner was trying to mark hard up against the boundary. Wasn't able to do so. It's over for a boundary throw in deep in the right forward pocket for the Swans, who trail by 10. 17 gone in the first.
Pat Voss is learning about work rate as a ruckman. He was outpointed by Laddams previously, and he's looking like he's pretty fatigued.
He's in the ruck here against Amadi, deep in Swans attacking territory. Bit of a neutral ball, fell the way of the Dockers. O'Meara clearing kick to the southern side of the ground, and good mark taken on the wing by Hamling. Immediately switches it into the middle of the ground. Blakey took the mark, played on, rolled, brought it to the grandstand side, the broadcast side. That's a very community call of me. Florent went short to Heaney. The grandstand surrounds this entire venue for those listening to us on ABC Sport. Heaney turns, kicks inside the forward 50, in front Pearce, couple of attempts, he's been paid the mark. Stood in front of the big pack of Swans, the captain of the Dockers, took a good intercept mark, and was able to go by foot to the right back pocket and find Luke Ryan.
Sunday footy on ABC Sport as Ryan for the Dockers, beyond defensive 50 towards centre wing. And his Blakey who went towards it, got taken over the shoulder. Will get the free kick. Tracy giving it away. Stands in front of the logo here, Blakey. Just hustles onto his left, stabs inside forward 50. Not quite what he wanted, and marked by Voss. Wearing the 20, which both coaches today wore in their playing careers. In Longmuir and Dean Cox. Kicks beyond defensive 50, Voss towards the logo. Commentary wing. Comes down off hands. Trying to work the ball out of there was Jordan. Socked forward by Laddams. Chomped off by Wagner. Dives over the top of the football. It's been held in. And at left half forward, there'll be a ball up for the Swans. They trail by 10. 18 and a half gone in the opening term. Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner. Our experts, Cara Antonio and Peter Bell.
Ball tossed up, Jackson tapped it straight into the path of Papley. Couldn't get a clean kick to it. O'Driscoll at right half back for the Dockers. A little underground handball to Ryan. Had to dance away from Papley. Eventually got the kick up the wing. Blakey got to the front. Couldn't take the mark. Laddams turned Rover. Was clean below the knees. Found Florin. A switch kick into the middle of the ground. Jake Lloyd has the ball. Game number 252 today for Jake Lloyd as they come back, the Swans, to the northern side of the ground, the broadcast side. Rampy was happy to once again switch it back across the defensive side of the centre square to Wicks. A little short kick inboard, finds Riley Bice. Taking their time here, the Swans. Eventually Wicks offered a run, got the handball coming past. His kick inside the forward 50 over the head of the coming teammates. Found no one. The Dockers win it back. Erasmus running outside defensive 50. Handballs to Murphy Reid in the middle of the ground. Kicks it to Bolton. One-on-one with McCartan. Bolton couldn't take the mark. He was too tall, McCartan. He won out, did well, and was able to clear defensive 50. Find Lloyd at right half back.
Just needed to find grass there. Shea Bolton would beat anyone in the AFL competition. Just put it on his head.
Roberts McLean sliding out, couldn't take the mark, under pressure, bounced up, kick was intercepted by Jackson to Wagner. Now an opportunity to go forward through Clark. Puts the Dockers towards right half forward, Voss marks. Out 80 from goal. His boots currently a metre in from the boundary line. Puts it long inside forward 50. Flying up Jackson from the side. Big mark for the tall Docker. In game 100, he can go back and have a shot from right in front and from 35 out.
I initially thought that Voss had put that inside 50 too quickly because Sydney had the advantage, but Luke Jackson streaming through the centre. He was involved in a handball chain moments before, pushed hard forward and a nice grab. He's had a big impact so far in this match, Luke Jackson.
Jackson said earlier in the week he loves being at Freo. Categorically, he's not going anywhere. In game 100, strides in, steers the goal through. He gets the Dockers third in his milestone match. 3-2-20 Fremantle. Sydney remains stuck on 4 behinds. We've gone 21 minutes in the opening term. The Dockers lead is out to 16 points on ABC Sport. Our experts, both of them all Australians, both of them former Dockers captains. Peter Bell and Cara Antonio.
Well, the Dockers' third goal and third goal from turnover, second goal from defensive mid of the ground. So that half-back area, we can see, Belly, that they want to move the ball really quickly, handball chain out, and then get it in nice and deep to their forwards' advantage. And you're right, great call, fantastic work rate from Luke Jackson. The only one that really wanted that ball in the end, flew in from the side, and a really nice grab and fantastic finish.
Back to the middle of the ground he goes, the milestone man, opposed once again to Brodie Grundy. Grundy won the tap in the middle, was looking for Warner. He collided with Brayshaw. Neither of them got it in the end. Eventually, Brayshaw ripped it from the contest, got it to O'Meara, who got it to Sharp. Now Sarong. Underground handball to Brayshaw. The Dockers still inside the centre square. Brayshaw back to Sharp. Under pressure, kicks it out to the broadcast side of the ground. Wagner runs onto it. Has a player inboard in Clark. Good kick. Finds Clark. Immediately plays on. Had more time as he blazes inside 50. Kicks it out on the full. Probably the worst of the options. The Swans have it back and bring it straight back into play to Dane Rampy in the right back pocket.
Blakey screaming for it just forward of him. Still in the right back pocket. It's ignored by Rampy. Kicks looking for Grundy through his hands. Frederick at the back. Hand pass onto O'Meara. Rode the tackle. Eventually had to just get rid of it. Chad Warner kicks up into the air. One-on-one battle here. Nicely worked then by Hanley up against Wagner. Hanley hand passes for the Swans. Out towards Lloyd. He's forced to go back by hand. Worked it nicely to Bice, who moves it short again to Lloyd, who marks it left half forward in the shadows. Holds the football for a moment. It's a congested forward 50. The kick is long towards full forward. Off hands, it spills. Bice lost his footing against Banfield. Sliding out Hanley. He gathers it. Tackled to ground by Wagner, and he didn't get rid of it.
And for those Sydney fans listening, the game is much closer than the margin indicates right now. They've had ample opportunity, Sydney, but just haven't been able to take their opportunities.
Wagner, the recipient of the free kick, shields his eyes as he kicks it into the sun. Up the wing, flying from behind was Jackson. Couldn't mark. Bolton did well to crumb the ball and get it to Brayshaw. Little handball inside to O'Meara. Looping handball back over to Bolton. Has to shake away Wicks. Did so well in the end, but under pressure. His kick inside the forward 50 goes wide. Goes out of bounds on the full. Sam Wicks wearing him very, very closely. Shea Bolton, the 215s on that occasion. The crowd, though, every time he gets near the ball, you can feel the energy building. His first game as a Docker in front of his home crowd here at Perth Stadium. Kick comes outside defensive 50 from Blake. He is punched away just wide of the interchange gates. We'll have a boundary throw-in. 24 and a half minutes gone in the first term here at Perth Stadium. The Dockers lead the Swans by a 16. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
Chapman, the player, getting his fist to it. Rapidly growing moustache too for Chapman. It's a new look as Grundy won it down straight to Bolton of the Dockers. Gave it to Johnson. Hand passes away nicely. Came towards Frederick. Stabs the pass. Or Walker rather. Stabs the pass inside forward 50. And it's marked there by Voss. He's slightly better than a 45-degree angle to the right. He'll kick from 45 out.
They've missed some opportunities for that lowering of the eyes. Kara's called it a couple of times. That time, Brandon Walker nailed Voss, who was presenting full-chested. And it'll be a tough matchup for Bolton also. Wicks did a fantastic job on Nick Watson in opening round.
Patrick Voss, first game of the season. On the inclusions this week. We're right behind the kick. It started out okay and then faded right. It's a minor score. 3-3-21 the Dockers. 4 behind Sydney. We've gone nearly 26 minutes into the opening term.
His issue at times last year, Voss as well. Didn't quite make the most of his opportunities when he got in the side. Plenty of chances left today. Rampy has the ball in the left back pocket for the Swans. Kicks up the wing. Jackson floating across. Went the fist. It wasn't convincing either. He punched it over the line, and as soon as he did, Luke Ryan turned around to him and said, "What are you doing?"
He said,
"Mark the ball."
He said, "Mark it, dogger."
You got 2 hands. That's okay. He's a ruckman. He wants to be a ruck. That's part of the role, isn't it? Ball tossed back in. Grundy in front of Jackson. Nice tap down to Jordan. Clearing kick around the corner. Bouncing towards Cox, though, of the Dockers. Was able to shake McLean from behind. Kick up the wing. Beautiful work by Amos to get in front of Rampy and take the mark. Now sees a lead. Is looking for Tracy. It was punched away by Roberts. Inside the Dockers attacking 50, though. Corey Warner's tackled by Erasmus. Loses the ball. Boss swoops on it. Pounces. Goals! Couldn't miss that one, Patrick Boss. The Swans under siege in the defensive 50. And the Dockers made them pay. They've got 4 straight to start the game. 4-3-27 Fremantle. Sydney yet to find a goal. They are just the 4 behinds. 23-point margin. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Our experts here in the box, Peter Bell and Cara Antonio.
Well, the first kick, Belly probably should have gone a little bit deeper in, but it was good that the Fremantle mids and forwards all turned up, and then fantastic pressure by Erasmus. That was his goal. Ball spilled out, and then Voss, the big man, missed one just before, but was able to steady and put it through. Loves the celebration, doesn't he, too?
And a really absorbing contest between Jai Amos and Dane Rampy. Dane has given Jai very little space on a number of occasions that they've played against each other. Jai has to get separation where possible.
It's Jackson against Grundy in the middle again. Grundy wins it down once more for the Swans. Heaney went to ground. He was being held, got one high too. He'll get the free kick. Gets up for the Swans. Steps inside Brayshaw. Runs through the centre circles. Kicks long towards full forward. They all fly. McLean got hands to it. Couldn't mark. O'Meara at the back for the Dockers. Threw it on the boot. It's an awkward bounce as it heads across the boundary line. And that's going to be deliberate. Sydney will have a shot after the siren. There was no player anywhere near it. We see them paid all the time, despite the frustration of the Dockers fans.
Not too sure what the crowd are booing at. It was clear as day. Free kick. Very hard pocket, though, we know, to score from. So we'll see how he goes.
This would be nice for the Swans. It's Florent who's going to take it. He emerges, sends it towards goal. It's going to be across the face. Slap through. Score will count. That is one more behind, right on quarter time. Sydney are 5 behind. The Dockers are 4-3-27. They lead by a very handy 22 points. The game doesn't feel as lopsided as the scoreline. Nonetheless, that's what they're going to have to deal with. The goal kickers for the Dockers, Tracy got their opening 2, and then after that, Luke Jackson in game 100, Patrick Voss getting the Dockers 4th. 4-3-27 to Sydney's 5 behinds. The results earlier today on Sunday. North Melbourne won by 59 points over Melbourne, and Brisbane by 19 points at the Gabba against West Coast. Wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital Radio, News Radio, and of course on the AFL button, streaming on the ABC Listen app. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
Get your footy fix on the ABC Listen app.
Right as an arrow!
AFL, NRL, men's, women's, to listen anywhere you want.
Yes!
Every goal, try, mark and tackle.
Game, set, bingo!
Live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
O'Meara, clever hand pass to Banfield. Banfield moves it on immediately again. They work it forward. This is from Erasmus. Now towards Brayshaw. Runs towards right half forward. Kicks the Dockers the full forward. Tracy juggles, turns, kicks the goal. Made absolutely sure of it. Josh Tracy, the Dockers have got the first. It comes nearly 9 minutes into the first term. Saw the opportunities, he turned around, banged it onto the boot.
Johnson, right edge of the centre square, kicks it straight back to that hot spot inside, attacking 50, off hands, comes to Banfield, gets it to Sharp, run down from behind, tackled by Corey Warner. Ball comes back the way of the Swans. Warner ran into trouble when he got it back, comes to Sharp, handball to Tracy, snap around the body. That's 2 for Tracy. He's kicked the only 2 goals of the game. And after kicking just 1 last week, he's got a double already in this first quarter.
Clark puts the Dockers towards right half forward. Voss marks. Out 80 from goal. His boot's currently a metre in from the boundary line. Puts it long inside forward 50. Flying up Jackson from the side. Big mark for the tall Docker. In game 100, he can go back and have a shot from right in front and from 35 out. Said earlier in the week he loves being at Freo. Categorically, he's not going anywhere. Game 100, strides in, steers the goal through. He gets the Dockers 3rd in his milestone match.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Fremantle by 22 points over Sydney at quarter time. A little bit of housekeeping for you. The votes from North versus the Demons. 3 to Sherry, 2 to Powell, 1 to Daniel. Tristan Sherry, Tom Powell and Caleb Daniel. The votes from the Kangaroos versus the Demons. Here at Perth Stadium, 22 points the Dockers lead. We'll go downstairs to a cash photo art in just a moment. But first, let's hear from our experts. Dual Premiership player Peter Bell, All-Australian, Cara Antonio.
Fast-paced, frenetic game, which you'd expect in these conditions, and really both teams are having opportunities if you're good enough to handle the ball cleanly and get it into space, because once you're able to do that, the game has really opened up. And at this stage, Fremantle have taken their opportunities. Sydney haven't. They've been inaccurate. I still think, Cara, Fremantle have missed some mid-forward connections, but they are playing quicker and they're happier to get the ball in, certainly a lot faster than last week, to give their forwards an opportunity. And at this stage, with Tracy with a couple and Voss with one and Jackson from a contested mark as well, you would have to say that it's paying off.
Definitely. I think the first kind of 10 to 15 minutes, Belly, of that quarter, the pressure from both sides, as we've mentioned, was incredible. But what Sydney did really well was they were covering off exits. They knew that from last week, we've spoken about it, Fremantle like to handball their way out of traffic, and to cover off the exits, they weren't allowing Fremantle to find an outlet. So they had to boot it forward, turnover from half back, and away they went. So what I saw from the second half of that quarter, it opened up. So there was almost 3-1 at some stages Sydney were going. That opened up the overlap run, and Fremantle had time and space to go inside forward 50. But you're right on the money there. The mark's inside 50, 3-1 in favour of Freo, which has, again, allowed them to, I suppose, capitalise on the scoreboard with those opportunities.
And just a side note, Fremantle have gone down into the change rooms because of the heat today. Sydney have taken their huddle in the shade, and Dean Cox coaching from the interchange today as well.
Let's have a look at some of the numbers. Mitch Turner.
Team numbers first. Disposals 117 to 104 Fremantle's way. Just that kick to handball ratio, as you mentioned. The Dockers have had 55 kicks, 62 handballs, so they are using it much more. It's 64 to 40 for the Swans. Fremantle going at 73% disposal efficiency. Sydney are 68. The marks 24 to 22 Sydney's way. Inside 50, as you mentioned, 3 marks to Freo, 1 to Sydney. The inside 50 count in total 18 to 12 the Dockers way. The hitouts 8 to 7 Sydney's way, and they also lead the clearances 10 to 5 and the tackles 16 to 9 individually. O'Meara has 9 for the Dockers. Wagner, Clark, Voss, Brayshaw all with 8 disposals. For the Swans, Jake Lloyd has 10. Isaac Heaney has 8, so too does James Jordan and Matthew Roberts. The main thing that matters, though, is the Dockers lead by 22 points.
They do indeed. By the way, if you haven't caught up with the news, the National Basketball League title for 2025 has been decided. It took them a long time to get there. Game 5, but Illawarra too good for Melbourne United in Game 5. The first game of the entire series, indeed the first of the last 8 games. It's been won by the home team. Illawarra 111 to Melbourne 104. So they win NBL 25, the championship, 3 games to 2. Congratulations to the Illawarra Hawks. Certainly our listeners throughout New South Wales will be keen to know that. Bad news for Melbourne United, who were tremendous throughout the season as well. So the Hawks winning their second premiership, their second championship, going alongside the one they won in 2001. Still waiting for the Dockers to emerge back out on the ground. Sydney are ready to go. Peter Bell, are there fines? What's the situation if they're late out there?
They got the stopwatch and they got the timing right. It's not one of those Spinal Tap moments where they're lost in the bowels of the stadium as Alex Pearce and the team enter the arena now. But yeah, quite peculiar that they're this late onto the ground after quarter time.
I was going to quote dodgeball and say their absence is noticeable.
What? Well, particularly because it wasn't even like Sydney had just broken. They're in their groups. They're in their 6-6-6. Like, hello, where are you, Freo?
Remember that junior footy and you'd be yelling, throw it up, umpire.
Yeah.
In fact, there was one of the umpires actually standing not too far away from the top of the race. Sort of, where are you, Freo? Where they are is in front on the scoreboard, though. 4-3-27 to Sydney, 5 behinds. And if you just join us, repeating, Brisbane by 19 over the Eagles and North by 59 over Melbourne. The Dockers are finally ready to go. 2 goals to Tracy, 1 to Voss, 1 to Jackson. No subs made yet. Sheldrick and Draper in the subs positions. We're underway. Jackson palmed it down for the Dockers. It came to O'Meara. Sweeps a hand pass forward to Jackson, then gets it onto Brayshaw. He'll kick Freo inside forward 50. Bolton running with it. Couldn't quite get to it. Dragged in by Amos. Wrapped up by Rampy. The 224s go to ground. Ball up at right full forward for Freo. They're in the bright sunshine here at Perth Stadium. To the Farmer Freeway end, the left of our broadcast position in this term. Jackson won it down. Brayshaw might have been tackled without it. Umpire says no. Lloyd got it away. to Wicks, who kicks beyond defensive 50. It bounces. There's a swan right near it, so they won't be deliberate here, despite the protestations of the Dockers crowd. Campbell was right there, couldn't drag it in. It's going to be a ball in instead. Left half forward for Freo, who lead 4-3 to 5 behinds, opening 60 seconds. Second term.
A little bit going on behind play between Warner and Brayshaw. Chad Warner, that is, and the ball comes straight to them of the contest. Warner was running through, was stripped of it. It fell back the Swans' way. Rowbottom snaps up the boundary line. It bounces on its end in front of Cox and Laddams. Goes out of bounds at the interchange gates for a boundary throw-in.
Jordan still running very closely with Sarong. Jager O'Meara is doing everything he can to disturb Jordan from that role.
Standing at the front of this contest, Grundy and Jackson. Grundy got a big slap forward, didn't go that far though, fell to O'Driscoll. Was immediately tackled by Jordan on this occasion. We'll have the ball up. It's about 15 metres in from the boundary, right in front of the interchange gates. Two rucks go at it. O'Driscoll got it to Sarong for the Dockers, then to Walker. Dangerous little kick inside, edge of the centre square, on the wing for Murphy Reid, who took the mark, kicks it up towards O'Driscoll. Rowbottom got back, was able to effect the spoil. O'Driscoll, though, good follow-up, gathered, steady, kick towards Boss. He drops the mark, under pressure, Hamling coughed it up. Bolton's trying to get himself free. Voss goes back in for the Dockers, 5 metres away from their own goal, turns it over. Rowbottom was able to get the handball to Wicks, whose clearing kick almost landed on the chest of Clark. He spilt the mark and Jordan gathered for the Swans and then got it to Papley.
Papley across half-back, elects to go backwards towards left half-back, just inside the boundary line. It's gathered by Lloyd. Had to backtrack a long way. Moves it short to Papley again. Still at left half-back, Sydney. Snap it short to Rowbottom. Bounces a kick towards Chad Warner. Gathers, takes a bounce, runs towards the centre circles. Steps around Sarong. Chips inside forward 50. Lead coming out from Laddams. He marks. About 45 out from goal, but he's bang in front.
A lot of finger pointing from the Fremantle mids and forwards. Just didn't empty out quick enough, open up the corridor to allow kind of an easy passage of play from Warner involved, and then a nice lead up to the forward.
I was just watching on the big screen. Laddams walks back and Blakey was standing over his left shoulder and he looks like a slightly more tattooed, bigger version of Blakey, does Laddams. Got the mo, got the same haircut. So he goes from the bright sunshine into the shadows at the city end of the ground from right on 50, straight in front. The kick's on its way. It's a ripper. Goal umpire doesn't have to move. The Swans have got there first. Laddams in his first game of the year kicks their opening goal. 4-3-27 Fremantle. Sydney are 1-5-11. The Dockers lead cut to 16 points. 4 minutes gone in the second term. ABC Sport. Here at Perth Stadium, our experts, Cara Antonio and Peter Bell.
Complete breakdown of team defence, wasn't it? Sydney had 3-4 players free in the corridor with not enough midfielders and forwards. You're right, Cara, applying any defensive run or pressure or transition at all, and it was just too easy to give Chad Warner, of all people, that amount of space. Of course, he hit Laddams with an uncontested mark.
Is he one of the best kicks from the midfielders going inside forward, Chad Warner? Doesn't often miss, does he?
He's very good, and he makes it as easy as possible for the marker, and that he just took the weight off it a little bit and just Laddams could run onto it.
They want a bit more of that, Sydney. They get their first of the day. Bounce to the middle's an awkward one. Umpire will recall it.
Bolton into the centre square.
He stands alongside Isaac Heaney. Both have previously won the mark of the year. They'll have to do their work at ground level on this occasion. Ball tossed up, tapped towards Heaney. Couldn't gather. Falls to O'Meara off hands. He's tackled. Threw it away illegally, said the umpire. Rowbottom, one of the best in the game, was the tackler. Wins the free kick and goes short inside to Jordan. Now Grundy is down near play. We'll get a cash to keep an eye on that. Jordan, in the meantime, rolls. Kicks inside the forward 50. Pearce in front of Amadi. Couldn't mark for the Dockers. O'Driscoll gathers. Immediately tackled by Florence. Have a ball up deep inside the right forward pocket for the Swans. They still trail by 16 points 5 minutes into the second.
He's got two trainers on the side of him, Grundy. A restart. Cox looked to work it away. Came out towards O'Meara and then took a ricochet off Laddams' boot, if you can believe that. Went out of bounds on the full.
Looked like a wayward kind of elbow to Grundy's head from O'Meara in that last passage of play.
He stayed out there. It's the Dockers with the free kick, go beyond defensive 50. Amos couldn't mark it, spilled down to Florent, wheels around for the Swans. Kicks Sydney inside their forward 50. Going out, Pearce flew up into the air. There's a free kick coming back here.
Looks like it's going Brennan Cox's way.
Back to
Jager.
Yeah, back to O'Meara. Didn't see the incident. It was a big pack of players. He went to ground, might have got a little nudge. And O'Meara does have it in the left back pocket. He'll kick beyond defensive 50 towards the commentary wing. 2-on-2 battle here. Oh, going up was Grundy. Looks okay now. Couldn't quite bring it down. Kicked forward here by the Swans. Off the boot of Hamling towards right half forward. No mark taken in amongst all that. I think he thought he might have been held. Instead, the ball's tumbled across the boundary line for a throw-in. 6 minutes gone in the second term. 4-3-27 the Dockers. 1-5-11 the Swans. That would have been a beauty if Grundy had been able to drag in that mark just seconds ago.
He's in the ruck right now in front of Jackson. Jackson reached over the top, tried to get it to a teammate. It was sharked by Campbell. His handball knocked down. Frederick had it for Fremantle. Gave it straight back. Gave it to Bias, who gave it to O'Meara. They're just turning it over left, right and centre here. Eventually, it spills the way of Robon over the Swans. Kicks it towards Amati. One-on-one with Pearce. Takes the mark. Just got enough space out the back. Stuck out the right arm and dragged it in. And Joel Amati will have the chance to kick his first goal today. Leading goal kicker from last year. 15 metres out. Very slight angle to the right.
They just stayed involved at the contest for longer there, Sydney. Both teams had their opportunity in the arm wrestle, but in the end, Sydney just a little bit cleaner, and they got the exit.
Joel Amati, about 15 metres out from goal. Slightest of angles. Amati makes his approach. Makes no mistake. The Swans have their second. They cut the margin back to just 10 points. 2-5-17 Sydney. They trail Fremantle 4-3-27. Played almost 8 minutes in the second term at Perth Stadium. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Before we get to our experts, Kari Antonio and Peter Bell, we'll go down to a cash photo day.
While Amati was lining up for that set shot, the Sydney doctors went out to Brodie Grundy again and were checking on him, sort of, they caught one there in the face, so looking at face and head, but once again he's brushed them off and decided to stay out there.
As you said, Bally, it was fantastic by both teams. They both had their opportunities, but really it was ball security in the end and who was cleaner at ground level, and it was Sydney. A wayward kick from row bottom, but got one out the back. Amati, great set of hands and a really nice finish.
If you're in neutral at the City end of the ground, you're in a good spot at the moment. Every goal has been kicked that way so far as the Dockers get the clearance. They'll try to change that. Bolton involved. Put it to O'Driscoll. Set it inside forward 50. Tracy marks. He'll start in line with the left hand behind post. It would boot the ball from 51 out.
Bolton involved in the centre square clearance, and O'Driscoll, he missed one earlier. Well, Pat Voss really should have swallowed it up, and I thought that one was going to miss as well, but Tracy stretched and took the mark. Usually pretty reliable from this sort of range with that left to right shape.
The big kahuna, as his nickname is, Josh Tracy, looking for his third from 51 out. Not with that, it's out to the right-hand side. It's missed the lot, has it? Just sneaking in. Minor score. 2-5-17 the Swans. The Dockers move to be 4-4-28. 9 gone in the second.
Short kick out from Roberts in the left back pocket, finds Rampy. Was forced to wait before he could go, then kicks beyond defensive 50, was looking for McCartan. Brayshaw cut across and got a fist in and won a free kick for his troubles.
Well, he defended that brilliantly. That's a classic blur the lines where he was just making the kicker doubt themselves, and in the end he effected an intercept via a free kick.
Ball had ricocheted about 40 or 50 metres away for a boundary throw-in, but the Dockers get the territory back. The free kick, Brayshaw, 60 from home, right half forward, kicks it, looking for Tracy in front, has one crack, couldn't take the mark, falls to Jordan, hat kick out towards the boundary, couple of players there, Chapman leading back in front of Corey Warner. The crowd wanted insufficient intent, the umpire says not on this occasion, and they'll ball it in just forward of the wing. Attacking position for the Dockers' southern side of the ground. Fair call by the umpire.
Amira's had it 14 times, O'Driscoll 11, Jordan 13 times and Lloyd 12 from the restart. Swans try to shovel it forward through Jordan. Comes away with O'Meara. Here's another disposal for him for the Dockers. Kicks towards right half forward. Tracy tapped it back in play. Sharp couldn't get there. Rowbottom shoveled it back inside defensive 50, met by Rampy. He strongly tackled. He lost the ball. Umpire says no, we're balling it up.
Fremantle had a couple of times to be clean there, and Sharpie wasn't able to pick it up. It would have been really threatening if he could have.
And on the 50-metre arc at right half forward, it's thrown up. I'm going to telling tap away. Jordan, hand pass for Sydney to Lloyd. Kicks towards the southern wing. 2-on-2 battle. Spills down. Patley hit it at pace. Takes a bounce just in front of the logo. Works his way onto his right. 1-on-1 inside forward 50. Coming back Ryan lends support. He works his opponent Hanley out of it. Allows Clark to gather. They've done that well, the Dockers. Came to O'Driscoll. Dangerous kick. Had to be precise. Frederick couldn't mark. Closed quickly then by Bice. It comes back to Chad Warner. Warner wobbles a kick inside forward 50, only as far as O'Driscoll again for the Dockers. And from left half back, he'll come towards centre wing.
Well, the ball headed in the direction of Erasmus, and you can hear the crowd. He's been pinged for a block. Shepherding Blakey out of the contest. Free kick to the Swan on centre wing. He goes inboard to Papley. A chaotic 60 seconds or so as Papley goes short to Blakey, continued his run just outside centre half forward, kick towards Warner, couldn't take the mark. It was Heaney on this occasion. Corey Warner's at the floor, gathers, crumbs, snaps around the body. That was a chaotic 60 seconds. The crowd are not happy. Minor score the Swans, 2-6-18. The Dockers are 4-4-28. It's a weird minute and a half of football. A cash Fodedar downstairs.
The heat is definitely a factor. Every Sydney player that comes off is handed a cold, wet towel out of the ice bucket by the Sydney trainers, and a lot of Swans players in particular getting rub-downs on the calves and hamstrings already in this first half.
34 degrees at the moment. They keep beyond defensive 50. Swans are able to work it back towards the right forward pocket. Here's Chad Warner. Wobbles a kick in the direction of Campbell. Couldn't mark. Pearce takes it across the behind line through for a minor score. 2-7-19 now Sydney. 4-4-28 the Dockers. 12 and a bit gone in the second.
Free kick count is 6-5 the way of the Swans at the moment as they go long down the middle of the Dockers. Back with courage was Clark. McCartan came the other way to meet it, and Clark diving back in to stop the Swans defender has caught him high. He's given away the free kick. Crowd not so happy still as McCartan switches the ball into the middle of the ground, finds Blakey inside the centre circle. He's the deepest player on the field for the Swans. Goes laterally still inside the centre square to Rampy, who goes out once again to the southern wing, and McCartan, very casual, dropped the mark. Now under pressure from Clark. Has to kick it high up and under forward of the wing, and coming across taking the mark is Johnson. The Fremantle have it back. He stands in the shade just beyond right half back.
Johnson, a bit of space in front of him, so goes on a short run and then kicks high down the southern wing. Flying was Tracy, spills off hands, straight to Brayshaw. Clever hand pass over the top for Erasmus. He gathers at shoulder height, centres it, looking for Frederick, couldn't mark. Pressure came from Bice, spills down to Banfield. The umpire, though, will come back for front-on contacts. Frederick will have a shot. Left forward pocket, no more than 20 metres out.
Again, just some of the Sydney players over-committing to pressuring the ball carrier. 3-1 there again. Fremantle were able to get the overlap and then put it in nice and deep to the advantage side of Frederick, who, again, gets awarded with a free kick.
Looking for his first of the game and third of the season. Oh, it's missed. That's a poor kick.
He stabbed at it.
45-degree angle, no more than 23 metres out. He put boots of ball. That's a disappointing effort. 4-5-29 the Dockers. They lead by 10 over the Swans. 2-7-19. 14 gone in the second.
Both sides have missed some opportunities. Rampy received the short kick in up the middle, then turned and went long. Was looking for Hayward. Couldn't take the mark. Tracy a long way from home. Gathered. Little handball back to Johnson. Swings it wide to Sharp. A lot of space on the southern side of the ground. Accidentally played on and then wanted to stop. The umpire said no, but he was able to steady himself and find Wagner. Just to his right. Just forward of centre wing is Corey Wagner. Decides to go long inside 50. McCartan in position 1A. Had a slight juggle at the mark, but was able to intercept it for the Swans. Back in his natural habitat, you'd say, Tom McCartan this week. He's been playing in the forward line. He's back down in defence. He goes long up the wing on this occasion. Laddams couldn't mark for the Swans. Wagner gathered it for Fremantle. Handball over the top to Sharp. Takes off running. Inboard to O'Driscoll. Stops. Props. Looks inside the forward 50. Went straight to Robot of the Swans. He couldn't mark. Bolton sells Candy to one, then to another. Gets it to Erasmus. His kick smothered. Ball bobbles inside Fremantle's forward 50. It's 30 out from their goal. The Swans under immense pressure. Dispossessed. Rampy. Tumbling ball outside defence of 50. Able to get it to Corey Warner, who is immediately tackled by Corey Wagner. It's a ball up. 55 out from the Dockers' goal.
Here's a tongue twister for you. The two Coreys, Warner and Wagner. Good battle. Laddams gets it down, kicks it forward to Amadi up against Ryan, has to shovel a hand pass forward, met by Draper. Juggled it, lost it under pressure, just hacked out of mid-air by Ryan. Up into the air it goes, towards right half forward. Roberts meets it. Reed takes him over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Just feel at this stage of the game, composure is going to be so important. The teams are getting tired. The game is opening up. Just execute your skills, stay over the ball, handle it cleanly, and scoring will eventuate.
And downstairs to a cash in just a moment. Laddams got away from Voss, palmed it down. Knocked forward here by Erasmus. Sarong lost his footing. Jordan was up, gathered, gave it off to Lloyd from left half back. He's put it out of bounds. Oh, not quite on the full. We all thought it was going to go out. So it's Eddie Draper. See, coming back the other way, mark taken by Corey Warner. We'll head back again to Lloyd, who marks for the Swans at left half back, and inside defensive 50 it comes to Blakey. Quickly downstairs, a cash.
Alex Pearce has come off and having a right shin and ankle area looked at, and the right ankle restrapped as well.
The Swans, in the meantime, switch it from one side of the ground to the other. At right half back, Rampy goes up the line looking for Hanley, and he's outpointed by Jordan Clark. Disposal number 10 coming up for the former Cat. Coming straight off the interchange was Jackson. Little lead onto the wing. Had no opponent going with him. Straight onto the field, straight into the action. In game 100, takes the mark, plays on. Under pressure, kicks a tumbler inside the forward 50. Hamlin couldn't mark for the Swans. Patley roved it, got it to a teammate in Roberts. They eventually share it by hand, the Swans, and McCartan able to find a target on the exit. But Bice dropped the easy mark. That's set Warner a task for Chad Variety. He has worked out of bounds by Johnson. The crowd not happy on that occasion. You can't argue. The boundary line saved Chad Warner. He would have been in trouble if it wasn't there. As soon as that ball crosses the line, he's under pressure. That's fine. It's a ball to be tossed back in. Jackson to the front. Tapped it to his own advantage. His handball then stolen by Roberts of the Swans. Got it to Florent. Nice handball in the middle of the ground. Lloyd under pressure. Gets a quick kick inside the forward 50. Clark tried to double fist it for the Dockers. It was Cox on this occasion. And Marty, he's trying to do the roving. Oh, breaks one tackle, then a second. Gets it to Hayward. Sees a target short and misses it. Over the head of Campbell. Sharp there to gather for Fremantle. Back to Wagner. The last line of defence. And he'll clear the kick. It's a 2-on-1 the way of the Dockers in the end. Reed was able to win it off hands and get it wide to Banfield.
Draper's in trouble off the ball after trying to tackle Amadi. He's remained down. The Dockers move it towards the wing, southern side. It comes to Bolton, kick towards Jackson. McCartan coming the other way. Ball still in dispute. Just dragging that in, Diddy McCartan. The Dockers fans certainly thought so. A ball up is the decision. A cash photo downstairs.
Yeah, it looks like a left shoulder issue there for Brandon Walker. That shoulder's already taped up and he's holding and favouring that arm quite badly. So very slowly making his way off the field.
Bad news for Walker. Here comes Campbell away towards left half forward. Taken in by Corey Warner. Moving it short once more to McLean.
50.
And that's against Ryan, who the umpire has said didn't get back quickly enough. Ryan was furious, but this will bring McLean certainly within range. He'll be kicking from a 45-degree angle, but from no more than 30 out as Walker in genuine pain.
He's come straight from the ground, didn't go through the gates.
Yep.
I would imagine that means he's done.
Looks
Can't
like
come
it's
back
out,
on.
yeah, shoulder's out.
Inboard kick finds Chad Warner. That was from McLean, who made sure, and Chad Warner with no one on him could just steer it through. The Dockers will have to have a little meeting as how that could be allowed to happen. Chad Warner standing all on his own right in front of goal and 30 metres out. He didn't miss. And he's made the Dockers pay for a lapse in concentration. They've got their third. 4-5-29 the Dockers, 3-7-25 the Swans. A 4-point game again, 21 gone into the second.
Well, they need to get organised there because I think it was Jordan was unbelievably free out of that stoppage, and then that was before the infringement against Ryan, and they had a chance to make it good to a degree, but Chad Warner all by himself 20 metres out in front of goal.
I think no one expected him to pass it because it wasn't that tough a set shot, and he improved the angle by going to Chad Warner. Caught all of us off guard. I think everyone in the ground. You see Draper warming up downstairs. Brennan Walker clearly done for the day. The ball's tossed back up. Jackson tapped it, got it back, and then the handball off to Bolton. Handball forward to Murphy Reid. Lowers the eyes, kicks to the leading target of Caleb Sarong. You heard that right. Caleb Sarong leading out from the deep attacking line in the forward 50, takes the mark and will have a set shot 45 out almost directly in front.
Great composure from Reid, a young player. You'd be entitled to have a shot at goal under no pressure, but he saw the leading forward in Sarong, and you can handball and then you can send an absolute laser handball, which is what Bolton did, and there is a difference.
Caleb Sarong from the set shot, 45 metres out, back-to-back best and fairest for the club. Finds a goal in front of his home fans. Fremantle extend the margin back out to 10 points. 5-5-35 the Dockers, 3-7-25 the Swans. Our experts here, Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Both former Dockers captains, both former All-Australians, both great at their craft. Cara Antonio and Peter Bell.
Well, goal from centre bounce there, opened the front of the stoppage. Sydney got sucked in again to the contest, allowed Bolton to get on the move. You called it, Bally. Incredible handball to the young Reid, and fantastic way to kick to Sarong. And I suppose that's how you break a tag, hit the scoreboard, throw one back to James Jordan to respond.
Yeah, left shoulder for Brandon Walker. Didn't look good in an Amati tackle, but yeah, the value of Shea Bolton at centre square.
I'll be bringing Draper on, you'd imagine. A matter of seconds to make it official. The Swans get the clearance through Warner. Probably kick towards Papley. He's done well to get it away. Papley into the right forward pocket. Laddams breaks away from Cox and then heads towards the boundary and can't keep it in. Throw in deep in the right forward pocket for the Swans. We got to within 4. Now back trailing by 10. Dockers goal just a moment ago. The first at the Farmer Freeway end in this game. 5-5 plays 3-7. 23 gone in the second. Ball back into play. Jackson, front position, palmed it down. It came to Brayshaw, then to O'Meara. Hands it off to O'Driscoll. Still in the left back pocket for Fremantle. Kicks towards the logo. Always favours Blakey. He's able to mark for the Swans. He'll glance inboard towards the sunshine on the centre circles and then spots a teammate all alone at centre half forward. It's Papley. Had to back and mark. He's got the ability to thump it, Papley. He won't, though. He'll go short, stabbing it inside forward 50 and leading out to take the grab, Campbell. He'll be able to put boots of ball from 45 out and straight in front.
They've been caught napping a few times, the Fremantle defence. They needed to protect their D50 better than that. And interesting with Walker, he's the natural match-up for Papley. So it'll be fascinating to see how Fremantle reshuffle.
Campbell was standing out there for a long time as well, waving his hands in the air. So it's good that he was able to lead up and get on the end of this one.
Bring it back. Within 4 again. Campbell's kick is on its way. It's missing left. Just a single-digit margin, but it's 9 points instead. 5-5-35 the Dockers. The Swans move to be 3-8-26. 25 gone in the second term. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport, ABC Radio, Sport Digital, News Radio, and the ABC Listen app.
Long kick out from Clark. Big fist came from the back from Hamling. Straight up in the air. O'Meara tackled strongly by Campbell.
Excellent first half. Jager O'Meara, 16 touches and been really physical.
Ball to be tossed up Just outside the forward 50 for the Swans. Grundy in front, tapped it through the hands of Heaney. O'Driscoll gathered it for the Dockers. Looping handball over the top to Brayshaw. Took too long. Chad Warner got him and let him know about it too. They've been going at each other. He tried to take off quickly, Chad, but the umpire, rightfully so, brought him back on his line. They are a bit chirpy and chippy, these two today. He's still not on his line, Chad Warner. He's blatantly off his line, and all of a sudden he has a target all on his own inside the forward 50. Brodie Grundy found a mountain of space and has marked 49 metres out, right half forward, which is slightly worse than a 45-degree angle.
It's not like he doesn't stand out, Brodie.
He's having the set shot. The former Pie, the former D, now a Swan. Instead, he sets it up to the top of the goal square. Flying in front for the Swans was Hayward. Couldn't mark. Ball goes straight back up in the air. Players crashing in from both sides. Clark was good. Clean to the Dockers. Got it to Jackson. Looping handball to O'Driscoll. Slammed to the ground by Chad Warner. Benefit of the doubt. Ball up. 40 metres out from the Swans' goal. They still trail by 9.
Umpire puts it up into the air. Reaching out, Ladham's got a fingertip to it. Caressed it to the ground. It came out to Heaney. Oh, big tackle. That's an enormous tackle from Amos. Lloyd had it. Amos crunched him. Got him for holding the ball, and he'll win the free kick. From the right back pocket for the Dockers towards the southern wing. Dragged in by Blakey of the Swans. Moves it short to Lloyd. Just shy of left half forward for Sydney. Standing in the shadows. Sydney looking to go to the city end. What's left of this, the second term. He kicks into the left forward pocket. McLean tapped it down, going through Campbell, lost possession. Picked up here by Ryan, ripped it away from Papley's grasp. Kicks into the right back pocket, slightly out sharp. Can't keep it in, I reckon, considering there were players right near him happy enough to sit over the boundary line where both teams can set up again deep in the right back pocket for the Dockers. They lead by 9, 27.5 gone in this, the second term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here's Mitch Turner.
Adams and Jackson stalking, now wrestling. Jackson in front, tapped it down. Coming past Chapman, couldn't gather. O'Driscoll could. Got it to Brayshaw. And O'Meara, now Wagner for the Dockers. Exit defensive 50 with a nice weighted pass. Out in front of Tracy. Has the ball southern side backwards of the wing though. He's a long way from where he wants to be. Kicks it up towards half forward. Flying across Johnson. Couldn't take the mark. Amos over Renner on hands and knees. McCartan did well for Sydney. Got it to Rowbottom. And pass forward to Grundy. Then to Wicks. Now off to Roberts. Normally good by foot. Kicks it inside the forward 50. And unfortunately the Swansea hit Alex Pearce like he was a leading forward. Straight back to the Dockers. The captain has it. Right back pocket. 28.5 gone in this second term Perth Stadium. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Mitch Turner here alongside Clint Wheeldon.
Dockers lead by 9, closing in on half time. Kick in the direction of Tracy at right half back. Brought it to ground. Roberts for the Swans had it. Broke the tackle of Johnson. Spun around. Put it back inside forward 50 for Sydney. Pearce punched it down at the back of the pack. Came to Papley. Centering kick towards full forward. Frederick there. And passes it back to Ryan for Fremantle. Looks to caress it into the left back pocket. It'll go across the boundary line. That will be a throw-in. 2 Dockers in the vicinity. One of them O'Driscoll, who's now heading to the bench. The other was Voss. Or to be spun back in. 51 out from Sydney's attacking goal at right half forward. Crowd has gone a little bit quieter for the moment. Clean against Jackson. Clean palmed it down. Came out to Warner, tackled by Jackson, but not before he got a kick away. And going back with a defensive mark in the left back pocket was Ryan for Freo. He'll flare it out to the right back pocket to Chapman, who stabs it short. Oh, big collision going one way. Roberts, the other Erasmus. Spilled out. Wagner was able to get it for Fremantle to Pearce. Hand passes back to Wagner. Hand passes to Chapman. And that'll do us for the first half. Fremantle by 22 points at quarter time. They've had that lead cut to 9 points at half time. For the Dockers, 5-5-35. For the Swans, 3-8-26. Fremantle's goal kickers look like this. 2 to Tracy. Singles to Sarong, to Jackson and to Voss. While Sydney, their 3 goals, Amadi, Ladhams and Chad Warner. The other scores earlier today, Brisbane by 19 points over the West Coast Eagles, and North Melbourne had their first win of the year, beating Melbourne by 59 points. But here at halftime in the West, the final game of round 2 on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, News Radio, and on the ABC Listen app. Our experts on Sunday footy, Peter Bell and Cara Antonio. Give us your thoughts.
Well, so much at stake at this game. Neither team wants to continue on in the season without winning a game, particularly Sydney have played the extra one to this point. And I really felt, Cara, that Sydney dominated that second quarter. It was 3-1, but I was a little concerned with the way that Fremantle at times got disorganised. Yeah, they had the injury to Brandon Walker, but a little alarming how much space that the Sydney players were able to find on occasion, particularly in their forward 50, where Fremantle seemed to be a little bit disorganised at times.
Yeah, you're right, Belly. They look real dangerous, Sydney, when they pressure at the source. They've got numbers at covering outlets, and then they can attack through their corridor. So we saw at times that there was a lot of pointing from the Fremantle players, forwards not emptying out and providing coverage in the corridor, and just allowing Sydney to get the game on their terms, I suppose, getting it inside 50, either lowering their eyes or hitting a target, or getting in deep and putting it to the one-on-one advantage of their forwards. So you're right, Belly. Again, Sydney dominated that second quarter. They scored their goals, 2 from stoppage and then 1 from turnover, which on the flip side, the one goal that Fremantle were able to kick was from centre bounce, and that was due to the fact, we called it, Sydney didn't have a sweep coverage, open up the front of the stoppage, and then obviously allowed Fremantle to enter their forward 50.
And just a couple of areas of concern for Fremantle. Sydney 22-13 in the clearances and 33-21 in the tackle count as well. And I think that's been really evident with Sydney's ability to just put Fremantle under a bit of pressure, or indeed strip the ball. And we know that this was a big issue for Fremantle last week against Geelong, but that's where Sydney have been able to find some really good looks by just putting on really good pressure. Fremantle almost out, then suddenly a hand in or a tackle, and the ball suddenly going Sydney's way. So very evenly poised match. You would think that running ability, given that the heat is a factor, will be really important. So a lot of really tired guys going into half-time. So, really even match and very entertaining, Clint.
Blokes who wear the 32 on their jumper can't be missing like Michael Frederick did, Peter Bell.
Well, he's actually very reliable, usually
Yes.
in front of goal, but Cara, I think, called it. He stabbed at it, didn't kick through it, and he's very reliable from, most distances, but particularly around the 45 to 50 metres, because he kicks through it and they go dead straight. And it's one of the basics of footy, just kick it the same way, even if you are close to goal.
Concern, of course, is downstairs in the Fremantle Dockers rooms for Walker. How is Brandon Walker at Cash Fotodar? Do you have an update for us?
Yeah, Fremantle have confirmed it is a left shoulder injury for Brandon Walker. He reappeared on the bench a couple of minutes before half-time with his left arm in a sling. Appeared in fairly good spirits, but as Mitch mentioned in the broadcast, he went straight off the ground, straight down the rooms, not via the interchange gates, which meant he would have been able to come back on anyway. Josh Draper subbed into the game and was standing on the bench ready to go for quite some time, but with the ball down the far side of the field, wasn't able to get on before half-time.
Substitution, as you heard, has been made. It did look nasty too, the shoulder injury to Walker. So we'll see how the Dockers can cope with that. 5-5-35 Fremantle, Sydney a 3-8-26. If you'd like to get in touch, apologies, we haven't had too many opportunities to read out our text messages. 0437 774 774. If you want to fire them through to us, let us know your thoughts on how the Dockers are travelling. If you're a Swans fan, what you've made of the game so far, or anything else in footy, let us know. 0437 774 774. Repeating in the National Basketball League, Illawarra have won the championship for 2025. They beat Melbourne United a little bit earlier today in Game 5 in Wollongong. So the first of all the final series games that actually, of the championship series games, it was actually won at home. 114 to 104. So well done to the Illawarra Hawks in the National Basketball League, beating Melbourne United. Let's pause here at Perth Stadium and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
ABC News, I'm Eliza Getzi. Treasurer Jim Chalmers is urging the federal coalition to release the details of proposed spending restrictions on the National Disability Insurance Scheme. Earlier today, Shadow Finance Minister Jane Hume hinted at a more aggressive approach to curb annual spending increases for the NDIS, saying there's more that can be done and that the scheme has run out of control. Speaking on Sky, Mr Chalmers says that's a scary prospect for participants.
Now, if Jane Hume is saying that she wants growth in NDIS spending to be between 2 and 3% instead of 8%, then they need to come clean on what that means for Australians with a disability. That is a very scary proposition for a lot of people and wondering what it means for them.
Meanwhile, federal opposition leader Peter Dutton has criticised Labor's power bill rebates, likening them to a Ponzi scheme. Tuesday night's budget will include a $150 rebate to take effect from July and comes on top of a $300 rebate in last year's budget. The coalition says it won't stand in the way of the new measure, but Mr Dutton says rebates don't address the underlying problems driving up power bills.
The fundamentals are broken. And at some stage, this Ponzi scheme that the government's running, where they're pulling money out of your pocket through taxes and then giving you $150 back and expecting you to say thank you.
An Israeli strike in southern Gaza has killed a senior Hamas member. Salah al-Badawil is said to have been killed in a tent alongside his wife as civilian casualties across Gaza continue to rise. The BBC's Amir Nada has more.
This attack will be seen by Israel, no doubt, as a victory. It's managed to kill around 10 senior Hamas leaders since it broke the ceasefire on Tuesday. Al-Bardawil was a member of its political bureau, so one of the main decision-making bodies, and previously a spokesperson, so very much a known face and a known figure. But his killing comes as over 630 people have been reported killed, including 200 children. So the pressure on the civilian population in Gaza is extreme.
A 5-year-old child has died following the latest Russian drone attack on the Ukrainian capital Kyiv, taking the death toll from it to 3. Ukraine's State Emergency Service says the drone attack started fires in residential apartment buildings. Another of the dead was a woman killed in a fire in a high-rise that started from falling drone debris. The Victorian State Opposition says residents in Melbourne's southeast who live next to a suburban rail loop worksite are being disrupted by the project but won't benefit from it because they're not near it. Some residents in Heatherton have complained of a range of health issues due to the works, with vibration from nearby heavy machinery identified as the culprit. State Shadow Minister for Major Projects, Evan Mulholland, says construction has been dumped on the community, causing them to suffer.
Getting nausea, vomiting, headaches, feeling like they're car sick in their own homes while they're trying to look after their kids, while they're trying to work from home. This is the kind of disruption the SRL project is causing the people of Heatherton. It's not good enough.
A man has been arrested after a standoff with police at a unit block in Newcastle. Emergency services were called to Woodbine Street in Mayfield about 10 o'clock this morning, and police evacuated all residents from the 22-unit block. Some say they heard shots being fired from within the unit earlier in the day. New South Wales police say a man was arrested shortly after 5 o'clock this afternoon and is expected to be charged later tonight. Meanwhile, police have arrested a man after a body was found last week in a paddock on the northwest outskirts of Sydney. The 39-year-old man's remains were found at the property in Glenorrhy on the 14th of March. Police initially arrested 2 men and a woman at the scene, but later released them without charge. This afternoon, officers arrested a 24-year-old man at another home in Glenorrhy and have taken him to Castle Hill Police Station for questioning. In sport, the Illawarra Hawks are the NBL champions after beating Melbourne United 114 points to 104 in Wollongong. The Hawks took the series 3 games to 2 to claim their first title since 2001 and their second overall. Trey Kell led the scoring for Illawarra with 24 points. Hawks coach Justin Tatum says he's looking forward to celebrating with Hawks fans.
Illawarra, we're partying all month, all year. Starting today, Illawarra, I see in the streets. Let's go, baby.
You're up to date with the latest from ABC News.
The footy might stop with the final siren, but with ABC AFL, the conversation keeps rolling. Get ABC AFL Daily Podcast with Premiership coach Paul Roos alongside Corbin Middlemass, Ben Cameron and Poppy Penny.
From walking on thin ice to dancing on the mountaintop.
It's your daily footy conversation. Find it on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Rowbottom bounces a kick towards Chad Warner, gathers, takes a bounce, runs towards the centre circles, steps around Sarong, chips inside forward 50, lead coming out from Laddams, he marks. About 45 out from goal, but he's bang in front. So he goes from the bright sunshine into the shadows at the city end of the ground from right on 50, straight in front. The kick's on its way. It's a ripper. Goal umpire doesn't have to move. The Swans have got there first.
It spills the way of Rowbottom for the Swans. Kicks it towards Amati. One-on-one with Pearce. Takes the mark. Just got enough space out the back. Stuck out the right arm and dragged it in. And Joel Amati will have the chance to kick his first goal, 15 metres out, very slight angle to the right. Amati makes his approach, makes no mistake. The Swans have their second. They cut the margin back to just 10 points.
Rory Warner moving it short once more to McLean.
50.
And that's against Ryan, who the umpire has said get back quickly enough. Ryan was furious, but this will bring McLean certainly within range. He'll be kicking from a 45-degree angle, but from no more than 30 out. Inboard kick finds Chad Warner. That was from McLean, who made sure. And Chad Warner, with no one on him, could just steer it through. The Dockers will have to have a little meeting as how that could be allowed to happen. Chad Warner standing all on his own right in front of goal.
Ball's tossed back up. Jackson tapped it, got it back, and then the handball off to Bolton. Handball forward to Murphy Reid. Lowers the eyes, kicks to the leading target of Caleb Sarong. You heard that right. Caleb Sarong leading out from the deep attacking line in the forward 50. Takes the mark and will have a set shot 45 out, almost directly in front. Caleb Sarong. Back-to-back best and fairest for the club. Finds a goal in front of his home fans.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio.
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
Half-time here at Perth Stadium. The Dockers lead by 9 points. 5-5-35 to Sydney 3-8-26. Ahead of Mitch Turner, bringing you all the numbers. I did enjoy this on the text line 0437 774 774. Steve asks, guys, any word if Chad Warner has inspected his new investment property over there in Perth?
Of course.
Tax deduction, isn't it?
That's right. Well, I did speak with someone who's very, very close to the Swans, and they're now super confident that Chad will be signing with them moving forward. So it certainly has felt like it's been moving that way, whereas perhaps before the last month or so it's been a 50-50 whether he's going to make his future in Sydney or Perth. So things trending, it would seem, if this person is to be believed, quite well for the Swans.
You can still buy an investment property in a city that you might intend to live on or in a long period down the road.
Well, the sort of money that they're offering Chad and what he's going to earn over his career, he can probably have an investment property in each Australian city by the end of his playing career.
He'd be going quite well to be having an investment one in every city that's worth the one he's got here in Perth, because it's quite a bit of money.
Yes.
For Chad Warner.
Take a bit to rent out too, I reckon. Nonetheless, that's good. Good from you, Steve. I enjoy that. 0437 774 774 if you'd like to get in touch. Mitch Turner's got the numbers. Mitch.
Clint, I don't know how many investment properties he actually has, but he has 12 disposals. I know that for a fact, Chad Warner. For the Swans, Jake Lloyd has the most. He has 18 disposals. That's the most on the ground. James Jordan with 17, finding plenty of the ball himself. Papley has 14. Robertson Blakey with 13 for the Dockers. O'Meara and O'Driscoll, both 17 touches each, continuing on from their strong individual games last week. Corey Wagner has 14. Andrew Brayshaw has 13. Just a few of the team numbers. The Dockers, just with those kick to handballs, still 97 handballs, 96 kicks. So still very much favouring the handball game. The Swans, though, they have 7 more disposals overall than Fremantle, both using the ball well. 72% for the Dockers, 70% for Sydney. That's surprising. Contested possessions going the way of the Swans by just 2. The inside 50 count, 29-28, Sydney's way. And the clearance count, another big stat, 22-13, Sydney's way as well. But the Dockers, they lead by 9 points.
Mark in Adelaide says Do you have the result of the Chinese Grand Prix? Well, there's no result from what we understand, but this won't surprise anyone who knows him. Mitch Turner has it up on a screen in front of him. Well, what's the latest for us, Mitch?
Chinese Grand Prix, lap 55 of 56. They're coming into the final lap. Oscar Piastri for McLaren is 4.5 seconds clear of his teammate Lando Norris in second, and George Russell from Mercedes rounds out the pole or the podium spot, 7.5 seconds back from Norris. So Oscar Piastri, if he can just survive the last lap, it'll be the perfect bounce back from that really disappointing Australian GP last week where he spun out.
Eagle-eared listeners would have remembered that Mitch wasn't here last week. He was in Melbourne, which wasn't just to call the Collingwood Port game. It was to be at the Formula One.
Yeah, it was me and Usman Khawaja, all the boys. we were all there.
Yeah, I was happy for you to go. You didn't have to check your hamstrings with us. I was very pleased. So, yes, we'll keep you updated. And, Mark, I promise, when we know a result, hopefully Piastri can hang on, we will let you know as well. One result so far today in the Not At All National Rugby League. The Bulldogs have beaten Para 16-8, so an 8-point win to Canterbury over the Eels. There was a game that's still underway. It was early in the second half last time I looked, and Manly were flogging the Raiders. Manly were up by 30 points over Canberra with still pretty much all the second half to come, but the Sea Eagles in complete control. We'll have an update for you on that at three-quarter time. Both of these teams back out here and ready to go. A few people asking why so many empty seats. I'm not saying there's a relationship between one and the other, but I think there would be. Trains cancelled on the Mandurah line today. Yeah. So if that's
Coburn on.
Yeah.
Can't get here.
That's going to make it an absolute nightmare. That's where most Fremantle will be unhappy when I say this, because they always point out they have supporters all over the state. But the heartland of Fremantle, that's the area where they come from. And so that would have made it very challenging. Particularly this is a stadium that has been so heavily designed to be only able to get here via public transport. So if your public transport system falls over on the day of a game, it's darn hard to get yourself here. So my thoughts with everyone who has battled their way, or indeed has just said, nah, this is all too hard today. It's a wonderful thing to do a bit of social engineering and say we're going to make a stadium that has to be utilised through public transport, except when your public transport doesn't work on the day of a game. So sympathy to any Fremantle supporter who said, no, not coming along today. So if you're wondering why, if you're watching and listening, why there's so many empty seats, I reckon that would be a pretty good reason for it. Belly?
Yeah, just wanted to talk about, Mitch, you mentioned about disposal efficiency, and I think it can be a bit misleading because Fremantle handball so much, so the measure of an effective handball is obviously easier to achieve than an effective kick. I actually think Sydney have used the ball better than Fremantle today, and it's an Achilles heel for Fremantle at times. We even saw it late there with Heath Chapman with the ball in D50, actually had a 4-on-1 and chose to chisel a ball up the corridor to Neil Erasmus. He was lucky that the siren went because the turnover was affected. I still think there's enormous growth in Fremantle just in basic skill execution. That really should have been run out of defence with a 4-on-1 out of D50 and not really much pressure. And there's been other instances as well. Jai Amos won a free kick with a really good tackle and then went for the long kick over the top. He had short options everywhere. Just hit the obvious, hit the easy one, and you'll get that overlap scenario. But I think there's some good signs in this match for Sydney. I really do. I think they're right in it.
Just very quickly, Oscar Piastri has just won the Chinese Grand Prix. The perfect bounce back from Australia and Melbourne last week. A big fist bump. His first win of the season coming in the second major race.
That's great news. Well done to Oscar Piastri. No doubt you'll hear more of that on the newses. Indeed, if you're here in the West, the 7 o'clock news here on ABC television. But absolutely no doubt we'll have some of those highlights for you, or of course on ABC News 24, wherever you happen to be. Very quick thoughts. We know he was coming back. We knew that he was going to get some limited minutes, but Shea Bolton's efforts first up. Cara, Belly?
Well, he looks exciting when he goes near the ball. We know that. I think he's just... The Fremantle players need to probably put it more to his advantage when he's one out by himself. Kick it to grass, get him to work. His speed is electric. He's a weapon up there, and I reckon he's only moments away and inches away of making impact here.
Final game of round 2. The Dockers will head into the second half with a 9-point lead over the Swans. To get us started on ABC Sport, here's Mitch Turner.
Brody Grundy, the Luke Jackson to get us underway once more. Ball bounced up in the air. Comes down to O'Meara for the Dockers. Off to Jackson. Handball forward to Brayshaw. Got out the front of the stoppage. Now kicks it inside the forward 50 for Fremantle. And Tom McCartan back in defence this week. Takes a nice intercept mark just to steady things for the Swans. Defending from that city end. That's the way the Dockers are kicking this quarter. The Swans to our left. The Graham Farmer Freeway. And that's a horrible kick by Tom McCartan. A floater that went about 30 metres and straight into the arms of Matthew Johnson. It's coming up on disposal 11. Decides to set it high into the forward 50. Floating across, taking the intercept mark is Tom McCartan. Take 2, goes by hand this time. Gives it off to Wicks, running out of defensive 50 under pressure from Banfield. Got a kick into the middle of the ground. Hayward in front of Draper, who's out there for the Dockers. Off hands, came to Papley. Under pressure, was dispossessed. Crowd wanted ball up. I said play on. Reed gathered, got it off to Clark. Turns, kicks inside the forward 50. Big fist from behind from Hamling. Came down to a teammate, couldn't gather in Jordan. Now he's under pressure, coughs it up. Roberts, his kick was smothered for the Swans. Falls to Reed, off to Brayshaw, to Caleb Sarong around the body. He can't bend it back enough, and it just sneaks in for a minor score. That's the opening score of the second half, though. 5-6-36 Fremantle, 3-8-26. The Sydney Swans, 90 seconds played in the third term. Clint Wilden.
Sydney with a short pass. Blakey to Lloyd. Stands not sure where to go for a moment. He's told to play on. He'll kick towards the commentary wing. Clean up in a pack of about 6. Brought it to ground. Here's Draper emerging with it for Fremantle. Runs towards half forward. Kicks the full forward. Great mark, Tracy. Was able just to get a little bit of separation on McCartan and then falling backwards as he took the big grab above his head. He'll go back and shoot from right in front.
Well, Draper's had an influence in coming into the match, particularly early in this third quarter. A great body work from Josh Tracy. I actually thought McCartan had the better positioning, but Tracy, early contact, got his man off balance and did the rest.
Needs to convert this for Fremantle. They've spurned a couple. He's banging in front. Josh Tracy kicks his third. Puts the Dockers out to a 16-point lead early stages of the third. Fremantle 6-6-42. Sydney remain as they were at half-time, or just over what they were at half-time, 3-8-26. So Fremantle's lead is 16 points. 3 minutes gone in the third term. Clint Wilden with you alongside Mitch Turner, our experts Peter Bell and Cara Antonio on ABC Sport.
Well, Belly, that was, I think, Fremantle's 4th inside forward 50. The last 3 they'd gone to pack situations where McCartan had taken a couple of grabs, created a couple of spoils, but that one isolated with Tracy deep. There's no more intimidating, scary position to be in, running back towards goal as a defender. Great bit of body work, as you mentioned, by Tracy, and a brilliant finish.
I might find this a little shocking. Josh Tracy's kicked more than 3 goals in a game just twice in his 57 games to date. Could he get over that tally today? Ball back in the middle. Bolton clever on hands and knees. Tapped it to the advantage of O'Meara. Tumbling ball towards half forward. Brayshaw trying to tap it to a teammate. Lloyd gathered it. Brayshaw gathered him. We'll have a ball up on the logo at right half forward. City end of the ground. Dockers attacking that way this quarter. Jackson v Grundy off hands. Falls to Johnson. He's tackled by a couple of Swans. Now balling up again. James Jordan laying the second of those 2 tackles. Ball back in play. Grundy tapped it down. Couldn't find a teammate. Roberts for the Swans. Taken high. Well, the umpire called it back. He will. He kicked it up the wing, but the umpire will bring the ball all the way back. Matthew Roberts will have the free kick for Sydney at left half back. You see the numbers push up the ground. Bit of a Freo chant going around the ground, trying to lift their team. Roberts goes short to Lloyd. Further up the wing he goes by foot to Grundy. Continues his run. Jake Lloyd receives the handball from the ruckman. Stops, props, goes inboard by foot. Finds Chad Warner on the logo on centre wing. The Swans still trailing by 16 points.
Chad Warner gets told to move it on. Decides to go long. Inside a sun-drenched forward 50 for Sydney. Off hands, Papley. Got a boot to it. Follows it up. Attempted soccer. Missed. in the goal square, and Sharp's able to rush it through for a minor score. It was there for Papley. First time couldn't quite get boot to ball as he wanted. Followed up, just couldn't have a go at it when he swung the boot at it. 3-9-27 Sydney, 6-6-42 the Dockers, 5 gone in the third. My heart warms. I've got a text message here coming through. Thanks for 15 minutes of how good Sydney are playing and all the Dockers' mistakes. You'd think Sydney were up by 60, not down by 9. We've been accused of being anti-Freo. I love that.
I'm not sure how they're going to react to this. Grundy has taken the mark for the Swans from the kick-in. Takes off immediately, kicks, looking for a marking target, and Corey Warner over the back. It was spoiled away from him. Pearce, one-on-one with Florent in defensive 50. Was able to win the ball. His handball over the top looking for Sharp. He was met by Rampy. Falls to Banfield. Snap around the body. Was it a mistake? I don't know. Gives it off to Roberts, who intercepts it for the Swans. Goes inboard to Blakey. His kick inside the forward 50. Coming from the side was Hanley. Couldn't take the mark. Out the back, Pearce under pressure. Got a handball into the path of Ryan. Now to Johnson. Takes some grass and kicks out to the wing. And a strong mark by Amos.
Amos stabs it inboard. Brayshaw got bumped in the side by Blakey. Went to ground. Amos goes out after it again. On top of it, it's been locked in. Ball up the call. I say that vicariously with a bit of a thrill because we're always accused of being biased towards the WA teams here in the West. So
that was a mistake by Amos. Sorry, everyone.
I might just cut that out and pin it up on the wall back at work. Here's Brayshaw, who's tackled but got a hand pass out for the Dockers to O'Meara. Tried to get it to Johnson, lost it, came to the Swans. Rowbottom goes long inside forward 50, backing back. Pearce can't mark against the Marty. Dockers fans thought it should have been a free kick. McLean applies pressure to Draper, comes out the side. McLean gathers, snaps around the body. He's kicked it for the Swans. That's his first. Again, Fremantle fans will be unhappy that they thought there was a bit of treatment on their skipper and nothing called. The Swans have got their fourth, 4-9-33. Freo is 6-6-42. 7 gone in the third on ABC Sport. Our experts, by the way, if you're listening in, former Dockers captains, Peter Bell and Cara Antonio.
Good passage of play again, built on pressure, wasn't it, Belly, from the half-back, Rowbottom, just picked off a handball. And then a nice deep entry, bit of forward pressure from the Sydney forwards, ground ball gather and a really nice snap.
It's that tough one, isn't it? That sometimes that last handball, that's the money handball that can get you free, but it just got picked off from Matty Johnson and it goes down the other end for a goal.
Laddams into the ruck again, opposed to Jackson here. He dances around the centre circle. Ball bouncing to the ground, not a great one. They'll call it back. The players must like that a little bit. They get just an extra 10 seconds of a breather. 6-6-6 gets reinstated. Now the umpire will toss the ball up in the air to restart us again. In front, Laddams got a front position. Umpire found a free kick. He was taken high. Jackson reaching around the Swans ruck. Free kick to Peter Laddams in the middle of Perth Stadium. Has a runner coming past. He'll reset play by handballing off to Blakey. Spearing kick inside the forward 50 from Nick Blakey. And he finds the chest of Will Hayward. It hit him like a rocket. You can almost hear the thud as he took the mark. He'll go back, set shot, 35, 40 metres out, pretty much directly in front.
The Fremantle players were very conscious of Chad Warner wrapping around the back of Pete Laddams, but they let Nick Blakey run to his left side. And you don't want to do that too often.
He's had a couple of cracks at goal today, Will Hayward. Hasn't been able to kick one. Signed a long-term contract last year for the Swans, Will Hayward. His kick on goal is on the money on this occasion. Hayward gets his first. The Swans close the margin. It's getting uncomfortable for Freo. 5-9-39 Sydney. 6-6-42 the Dockers, 9.5 played in the third. Cara Antonio and Peter Bell, both former Dockers captains, our experts for ABC Sport.
Well, you're right, Belly. Blakey's had 16 disposals, all kicks, and going at 81% by foot. Of those 16, 4 of them have been inside 50. So he's so dangerous. Forwards needed to come up, empty out a little bit and run with him because everyone knows in the competition how dangerous the Lizard is.
He just gets that penetration on his kick, and Luke Ryan lost contact with Will Hayward and trailed in, and the damage was done.
Worrying times for Freo. Again, their fans have gone quiet with just cause. How do they fight their way back now? Jackson will get involved. He palmed it down. Awkward bounce for Sarong. Jordan coming the other way. Got it for the Swans. Hand pass stolen by Jackson. Worked it to O'Meara. Couldn't take it cleanly. Rowbottom got in the way. Florent will emerge with it. His hand pass knocked to ground again. Still there to be won. Picked up off the ground by O'Meara for the Dockers. Gave it to Jackson. Back to Wagner. Kicks inside forward 50. Flying was Tracy. Couldn't mark. Here's Frederick. Threw it on the boot and misses to the right-hand side. Trying to curl it around. Minor score. 6-7-43. That's Freo. 5-9-39. Sydney. 11 gone in the third.
Just going short by foot inside the defensive 50 at the moment. It's with Rampy. 30 metres out from his own goal. Eventually takes a bit of grass. Kicks out to the wing, and Amadi was able to separate, find some room and take the chest mark. Southern side of the ground here at Perth Stadium. Shadows creeping their way across the surface. Amadi kicks up the wing, was looking for Grundy, was outpointed by Cox. Ryan at the back gathered. A little shimmy and shake, got away from the Swans opponents. Now kicks a high ball up the wing. In front is Tracy. Hamling was able to knock it away from him. Brayshaw at ground level for the Dockers. He overran it. He's going back in again. Grabbed it off his knees, got to his feet, fed the handball to Sharp, off to Banfield, 50 from home. Lowers his eyes, kicks it back into the middle of the 50. Was looking for Boss, couldn't find it. Rowbottom cut it off and then hacks the ball towards the boundary. The Freo fans are willing it to go out. It'll stay in. Kept in by Campbell. Little handball along the boundary to himself. Now he's lost it. The Dockers win it back. O'Driscoll gathers, kicks it inside the 50. Looking for the leading target of Tracy. It's over his head. Can't mark. The Swans win it back, and McCartan will clear in front a teammate outside 50.
Taking a bounce is Corey Wagner. Arches the back, gets away from Sharp. Puts the Swans towards right half forward. Had too much on the kick. Luke Ryan. He was the third player in that pack, and he was at the back, and he took the mark. The second Docker involved. Back to Cox. Inside his defensive 50 to O'Meara at centre half back. Stands at the top of the defensive 50 arc. Gets told to move it on. Will flare it out towards the southern wing, where Sharp waits. Uncontested mark. Chips it short. O'Driscoll marks. Just shy of the logo. Dockers controlled movement at the moment. Short again to O'Meara. Jager's got 22 disposals, 23 now as he goes short once more. A little bit of a run, Erasmus. Driving kick inside forward 50. Brayshaw thought he was being held. Umpire thought different. Frederick had it, lost it. Came out the side to Rowbottom. Quick hands. McCartan eventually got it away to Campbell. They worked that pretty well in the end, the Swans. They were under genuine pressure from Freo, and they get it beyond defensive 50 to Haywood, who marks at left half back. Still Freo lead by 4 points. 13 gone in the third term. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Haywood is backward of the wing, kicks it further towards centre wing, and strong mark taken in front for the Dockers by Cox. Immediately goes inboard by foot to Erasmus. Played on, didn't have a lot of options when he did. Eventually handballed it forward to O'Driscoll. He tried to get it to Clark. It ricocheted off him. It came back to Clark. Kicks it inside the forward 50. Finds Tracy. And they love it when a plan kind of, sort of, eventually comes together. Tracy will have the set shot, 45 out, slide angle to the right.
Well, Cox has been a little bit quiet today. That is his third mark for the game, but I was just watching. I hope it's just cramp because he grabbed at his left hammy once he kicked that ball as he landed from that mark. Good build-up, though, for the Dockers.
He's only kicked more than 3 goals in a game, twice in his career. He's done it 3 times now. Josh Tracy has 4 for the game. The Dockers give themselves a little bit of wiggle room again. 7-7-49 Fremantle, 5-9-39 Sydney. It's a 10-point margin. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. We'll head down to the boundary. A Cash Vodadar is there.
Just to follow on from what Cara was saying, Brennan Cox did come off a little bit earlier, have a lot of work done on his left thigh. It did look like cramp, and just then the trainer has handed him the magic pickle juice, so I think it is cramp in that left hamstring as well.
And to this point of the match, you'd have to say that Josh Tracy is the difference. A big forward hitting the scoreboard. He's kicked 4 and looks the most likely for Fremantle.
Good build-up again, wasn't it, Belly? Through the centre, through the corridor. Easiest and quickest way to goal, and great mid-forward connection there for the Dockers.
Big Kahuna having a big day. 4 goals for Tracy. Lead is 10 points again for those in purple and white. Now to the football. Laddams takes clean possession, hands it off to Rowbottom, goes back for the Swans to Wicks. Hand pass to Heaney, just stepped inside. Was able to get away from Bolton. Now, what's the call here? It's a free kick going Sydney's way to Heaney out of all that. Stands at centre half back. Heaney goes on a bit of a run. Past Bolton, kicks towards right half forward. Good spoil. Oh, over the shoulder the call. Going the way of Cox. He'd just done enough then, McLean, not to be. Cox went back to Ryan for the Dockers. Goes beyond defensive 50 towards left half back. This is Sharp. In the bright sunshine, pauses for a moment. Gets hold to move it on. Takes a couple of steps. And then kicks high up in the air. It'll go over the top of centre wing southern side. Laddams Rose got a fish to it. Murphy Reid hand pass back meant for Johnson. Couldn't take it. Sarong could. Shoveled it forward. Murphy Reid put his head over the football. Was able to slap it on despite the pressure coming. Erasmus emerges with it. Hand pass missed. Jackson had time to gather under pressure from Warner. Got it off to Johnson again at centre half forward. Hands it back to Brendan Cox. Short hand pass wasn't great. Draper did well to hoover it up. Kicking inside forward 50. Reid can't break the tackle of Wicks. Got it out though to Chapman. 50 from goal. Sends it long towards the sticks. He's missed the lots. Out of bounds on the forward. Right full back for the Swans. They'll bring it in quickly. They trail by 10. 17 gone in the third.
Running outside, right half back is Hamling. Under pressure, kicks up the wing in front. Papley couldn't mark, but bounced to his feet straight away. Gathered, short kick to Hanley. Umpire said just a required 15. He just waits a moment and goes wide to Corey Warner, who has the ball just forward of centre wing, southern side of the ground. Wheels inboard. Runs his 10 metres, kicks it inside the forward 50, floating back. Pearce could have marked it, decided to spoil. Erasmus shakes one tackle, then he's caught, taken to ground. Umpire says play on originally, and then changes his mind. He was just waiting, had to think about it, and in the end, probably the right call. Erasmus pinged, holding the ball. The free kick will go to Hayden McLean. He'll have a chance at his second.
Well, that's the difference. Down the other end, Fremantle just toyed, just mucked around with the footy. Shea Bolton was by himself for a good 30 to 40 seconds in the pocket, but they opted for the long, deep entry, whereas down the other end, Sydney, get it to a dangerous spot. If your bigs can't mark it, get the ball to ground and let your smalls do the work.
25 metres out, pretty much directly in front. Back into the side this week, Hayden McLean. He's got himself 2 goals. Finishes nicely, and the Swans answer back. 6-9-45 Sydney, 7-7-49 the Dockers. 4-point margin, 18.5 minutes gone in the third quarter. Our experts on ABC Sport, both former All-Australians, Peter Bell and Cara Antonio.
See there, Belly, a dangerous spot. Pearce has to come off his direct opponent, and then there's more numbers on ground level for the Swans, and just tackle pressure, outstanding. Pin the arm, Erasmus nowhere to go. Dean Cox pretty happy with that one too in the box.
Oh, you love those forward 50 tackles.
You do.
Yeah.
Still searching for his first win as a senior coach, Dean Cox. Top games. Was to the Brisbane Lions and the Hawks to get the year underway. Both in red-hot form. Jackson palmed it down, went straight to row bottom of the Swans to Heaney. Worked his way through purple traffic and then kicks inside forward 50. Going back and unable to quite take the mark was Clark, but to tap it to his advantage. Comes up in the air. O'Meara gathers, and umpire says we'll ball it up. Just as he was tackled to ground by McLean. He's going to do the ruck work. Jackson arrives late. They combined, tapped it down, then Johnson slapped it forward. Campbell there for the Swans to Florence. Stepped inside Clark, stabs it inside the attacking 50. Hanley gathered on the bounce, handed it off to Papley from 45 out. He's missed. Sent it long towards goal, misses to the left-hand side. 3-point game. Sydney 6-10-46. The Dockers 7-7-49. We're into time on in the third. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner in commentary.
The shadows almost across the entire side of the ground. Luke Ryan is looking into the sun as he kicks out up the middle of the ground. Free kick spotted against Jackson. It's going to Hamling of the Swans. He's got his way into this Sydney side at his fourth club. He kicks inside the forward 50. Flying in front of Marty, was met by Pearce. Ball comes off hands. Chapman taps it away from Hayward. Sharp gathers for the Dockers in the left back pocket. Handballs out in front of Draper, contending with Hanley. Hanley did well. Won the ball. Handball to Roberts. Outside their own attacking 50, the Swans. They're going backwards. They're almost at the wing. Coming the other way, Wicks eventually grabbed it. Gave it to Chad Warner from 55. He's away to the right. Working the wrong way, the Swans. They eventually had the shot on goal. Couldn't find it. 6-11-47 Sydney. 7-7-49 Fremantle.
2-point ball game. Clark in the right back pocket. It comes to Ryan. Dual All-Australian. Ryan, orange boots in motion. Kicks beyond defensive 50 towards right half back. Jackson against Hamling. Hamling got it down off Florent. Bursts through. Then takes a bounce. Runs the 51 out. Kicks towards goal. He's missed left. They've had some chances, the Swans. It's a 1-point ball game. 7-7 plays 6-12. 21 gone in the third.
Just pinned in their defensive half at the moment. The Dockers.
That's where they are right now. Heath Chapman has the ball in the right back pocket. He's got the bright blue boots on. Kicks up the wing. Hamling and Jackson go at it again. This time it gets out the back of the pack. Roberts got it for Sydney. Tried to handball back to a teammate. It's knocked away by the Dockers. Goes to Voss. Now Banfield over the top to Jackson. To Murphy Reid. 50 out. Short pass to Tracy. Marks it in the right forward pocket. About 10-15 metres in from the boundary. Acute angle. He'll kick from about 35-40 out, looking for goal number 5. Just the second time in his career.
He's got great awareness, Murphy Reid, of where the pressure's coming from and exactly how much time he has.
Josh Tracy, the big kahuna, is leading this attack today for the Dockers. In comes Tracy. The kick, not his best. A little bit off the side of the boot. It goes through the right side. Wrong side of the post for a minor score. Margin back to 2 points.
Sydney bursting away through Bice. Takes a bounce. Kicks towards the wing. 2-on-2 battle. Bringing it down McCartan. Just a step around Jackson enough to get a kick away towards left half forward. Papley was able to mark up against Chapman. Sends it to a player all on his own inside forward 50. Easy as you like to Hanley to mark. Uncontested. 35 or so out from goal. He'll start in line with the right hand behind post.
It's a breakdown from the forwards, and it happened early in the match actually, in the first quarter, but Sydney players running fat side of the ground, too much space. So a breakdown between wingers, half backs, half forwards.
The 19-year-old in just his third game to put Sydney in front. He trots in. Hanley's kick is on its way and it's through for a major. Sydney take the lead at the 24-minute mark of the third term. The Swans are up by 4. 7-12-54 to Fremantle 7-8-50. Hanley with his name on the goal kickers list. Let's hear from our experts, Peter Bell and Cara Antonio.
Well, that's probably the third or fourth time, Bally, that Sydney have wanted to move the ball pretty quickly from a point. It's a clear game style, game plan, and that, I don't know if it was the fat side winger, what position he started in, or the high half forward, but just had no one anywhere near him. The Dockers defenders had obviously creeped up to help support, and he got out the back. Just a really nice passage of play, quick, fast ball movement, and effective for the Swans.
I know you're good with this stuff, Clint, but by my count, that's the first time the Swans have led since about the 8 or 9 minute mark of the first term. Ball back in the middle, another awkward bounce. Reset. Since the Dockers kicked their first.
At the 9-minute mark. That's the Dockers have led since then till right now.
Well, it's a 4-point lead to the Swans. Ball back in the middle, tossed up in the air. Grundy v Jackson falls away of the Swans. Grundy did the roving, got a handball to Heaney, knocked away from him. O'Meara stole it for the Dockers, got it to Sarong. His kick inside 50, looking for Banfield, couldn't take the awkward ball. Bobbles outside, attacking 50 for Fremantle. Murphy Reid gets it to Bolton. Nice little sidestep, got himself some room. And that's just a touch of class that Bolton adds as he finds Bailey Banfield. 45 metres out, tight angle to the left, kicking towards the city end of the ground.
Good pressure by the forward line there from the Dockers. Bolton, just the sidestep. So much footy IQ. Composure to lower the eyes and find Banfield, who was all by himself.
Can be dangerous with ball in hand in front of goal at times. Bailey Banfield, set shot on the way. Goal umpire does not move. Fremantle back in front. 2-point margin favouring the Dockers, 8-8-56. The Swans 7-12-54. The Sydney have a lead and it's gone for the time being. 26 minutes in to the third term. Our experts, all Australians, Cara Antonio and Peter Bell.
Well, it was a fumble. I think it was Isaac Heaney, actually. Otherwise, Sydney were out of that centre bounce and a uncharacteristic fumble and great forward pressure from Fremantle. Bolton laid a tackle. Murphy Reid extracted the ball. And as Cara called, Bolton had the composure to find Banfield in plenty of space. And that was a clutch kick from Bailey Banfield.
Always dangerous around goal, Bailey Banfield. Giving the Dockers back the lead. They're up by 2. 27 gone in the third. A great bounce. Only got there first. Won it down to Jordan. Gave it back to Chad Warner. Kicks the Swans inside 40-50. Clark's done well. Hanley was right on him. Was able to take the mark, caressing it into his chest. We'll move it short to Brennan Cox. Marks in the left back pocket. Goes beyond defensive 50 to Chapman, who marks. It's where he has to pause. Congested in front of him. Johnson led his way towards the boundary line, and that's where the kick goes. Marking it on centre wing, southern side. On a run, Johnson heads towards the logo on the southern wing and then kicks inside forward 50. Voss is out, got hands to it, couldn't mark. Amos, hand passes on the bounce. O'Driscoll might have been taken high by Florent. To work it forward to Hamling. Hamling got it away, came again towards Wicks. And then on into the hands of Grundy for the Swans, and he puts it out towards right half back where Chad Warner marks. Freo by 2. 28 minutes gone in the third. Sunday footy on ABC Sport.
Warner, nice kick up the wing. Found Heaney, just got away from Sarong. It's just forward of centre wing. He's waiting for an option. Is Isaac Heaney, then decides to run around. Caleb Sarong on the mark, goes on his left foot, kicks inside the 50, and Marty coming across, couldn't mark. Spills back to O'Driscoll, the Dockers. Tucks under his arm, goes for a run, now kicks it out to the wing. The Dockers have numbers. Banfield gathers, gets it to Sharp, has Johnson ahead of him, finds him by foot. Fremantle going forward on the southern side of the ground. Johnson wheels, Voss has got out the back, he takes the mark. 40 metres out from goal. Very tight angle to the left. They just had to get it on the Dockers. They were out the back and they did so. Voss will have a chance for his second of the day.
We fluffed his lines previously. Paddy Voss, he's dropped a couple that he'd back himself to take usually, but he just keeps buttering up and presenting. Nice bit of play from Fremantle. Crucial shot at goal for Pat Voss.
Slow approach in the bright green boots. He fluffed his lines the first time. He's done it again. Hasn't learned. He might have to go back to rehearsals, Patrick Voss. He's pulled it all the way left out on the full. No change to the score. The Dockers still lead by 2 points.
As Voss is under more pressure elsewhere in the competition. But he would have liked to have got that. Dockers fans thought Blakey dropped it onto his boot. As Tracy was told to go back. Blakey now from right full back goes beyond defensive 50. McLean won it down as the siren sounds for three-quarter time. Fremantle saw a 22-point lead at quarter time become a 9-point advantage at half-time. It's now just a 2-point lead in front of their adoring home fans. 8-8-56 the Dockers. Sydney 7-12-54. And the goal kickers for Freo, Josh Tracy's got 4. Caleb Sarong, he's been impressive as well. He's got a 1. Luke Jackson with 1. Bailey Banfield with 1. Patrick Voss with 1. While for Sydney, 2 to McLean, singles to Chad Warner, Haywood, Laddams, Amati and Hanley. 8-8-56 Freo, 7-12-54 the Swans. There is 1 quarter to play in round 2 of the AFL in 2025. That is coming up next, wherever you're listening on ABC Radio, Sport Digital Radio, News Radio, and streaming on the ABC Listen app. This is Sunday Footy on ABC Sport.
The World Test Championship is coming.
He gets connection here, lifts it over the keeper, 1 bounce for 4.
Australia versus South Africa.
And he nicks it, he's got him again.
Catch every ball on the ABC Listen app. This is the 2025 AFL Premiership season on ABC Sport.
Here's Draper emerging with it for Fremantle. Runs towards half forward, kicks the full forward. Great mark, Tracy. Was able just to get a little bit of separation on McCartan and then falling backwards as he took the big grab above his head. He'll go back and shoot from right in front. He's banging in front. Josh Tracy kicks his third, puts the Dockers out to a 16-point lead. Rowbottom goes long inside forward 50, backing back. Pearce can't mark against the Marty. Dockers fans thought it should have been a free kick. McLean applies pressure to Draper, comes out the side. McLean gathers, snaps around the body. He's kicked it for the Swans.
Blakey, spearing kick inside the forward 50 from Nick Blakey, and he finds the chest of Will Haywood. It hit him like a rocket. You could almost hear the thud. He'll go back, set shot, 35-40 metres out, pretty much directly in front. His kick on goal is on the money on this occasion. Haywood gets his first. The Swans close the margin.
Hapley was able to mark up against Chapman. Sends it to a player all on his own inside forward 50. Easy as you like to Hanley to mark. Uncontested. 35 or so out from goal. He'll start in line with the right hand behind post to put Sydney in front. He trots in. Hanley's kick is on its way and it's through for a major.
Bobbles outside, attacking 50 for Fremantle. Murphy Reid gets it to Bolton. Nice little sidestep, got himself some room. And that's just a touch of class that Bolton adds as he finds Bailey Banfield 45 metres out. Tight angle to the left, kicking towards the city end of the ground. Can be dangerous with ball in hand in front of goal at times. Bailey Banfield, set shot on the way. Goal umpire does not move. Fremantle back in front.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the AFL.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital,
and on the ABC Listen app.
It's a 2-point game to wrap up round 2. The Dockers up over the Swans. Both teams desperate to win. Fremantle 0-1. Sydney 0-2, and both teams with high expectations in season 2025. If you've just joined us throughout the day, earlier on, Brisbane by 19 points over the West Coast Eagles, and North Melbourne by 59 points against Melbourne. In the Not At All National Rugby League full-time, Manly have beaten the Raiders by 28 points, 40-12. Earlier, the Canterbury Bulldogs beat Parramatta 16 points to 8. And in the National Basketball League, Illawarra has won the NBL Championship for 2025, beating Melbourne United 114-104 in Game 5. The Hawks take the title back to the Gong for the second time. Our experts at Perth Stadium, Peter Bell and Cara Antonio, with you on ABC Sports. Your thoughts?
Well, it's been an enthralling contest, and really with games like these, Cara, it comes down to those moments when you're pretty much even at three-quarter time, who can execute the best, who can understand what the game is demanding of you at a particular moment. And that comes down to accuracy as well. And we've seen both sides be a little inaccurate in front of goal. So who can stand up and execute the fundamentals and give their team the best opportunity of scoring? Sounds really basic, but with fatigue, a tough contest, it is really difficult to do. And whoever can do it the best will win this match.
You're exactly right. I reckon conditions will play a part in this last quarter. It's obviously been hot all day here and all game, but who can run out the game? Sydney know they've got the bye next week as well. They've probably got a little bit of extra in the tank knowing they've got a bit of a rest coming up. So it'll be interesting to see what we get in this last quarter.
Marcus asked a question that, Belly, you'd be perfectly placed to answer. The sports scientists, how concerned would they be for Freo? Back-to-back games in 34-degree heat. How will that impact them in this one?
Well, that's why you do all of those kilometres over a long pre-season here in very hot weather. So I think they'd be okay. They'd be confident the team would be able to run it out, and obviously Brandon Walker out of the game early as well. Sydney have that advantage with Gus Sheldrick ready to go, those fresh legs around the midfield, and they've been pretty good at stoppage, Sydney today, and they've shaded Fremantle. So I think both teams, though, would be confident that their teams will run it out.
Just some of the stats quickly. The individual disposal getters from both sides. Jaeger O'Meara, it's a terrific start to the season. 24 touches, leads all comers on the ground. The others for the Dockers. O'Driscoll has 21. Luke Ryan with 18. Jordan Clark with 17 for the Swans. Jake Lloyd has 21. James Jordan with 20. And 18 apiece for Papley, Matt Roberts and Nick Blakey. They're the individual stat getters. The Dockers with a 2-point lead at three-quarter time.
Players heading to their respective positions. Dean Cox striding onto the bench for the Sydney Swans. 2006 Premiership player with the West Coast Eagles, a six-time All-Australian, but chasing his first win as a senior coach after taking over from John Longmire. Justin Longmuir in his sixth season, the expectations were so high. And I'm well aware that Brisbane was 0-3 to start last season. Neither of these teams would like to be winless after the second round of 2025.
Heaney's gone forward as well. He kicked a couple late last week, so big coaching move there from Dean Cox.
Stands at the top of the attacking goal square. Draper alongside him. Crowd of around about 40,000 in. Mentioned before, some issues with the train lines, which might have kept the numbers down a bit from those travelling from the south of the city. But none of that will mean a thing.
And at the other end, out of the Fremantle cage, the young player Murphy Reid. Can history repeat? Can he produce some heroics as he did in the third quarter last week against Geelong?
4 goals in 10 minutes would surely see him pick up the Rising Star nomination this week. Dan from Perth asking that exact question. At the moment, we'd be unsure. Certainly put his hand up last week. Got pipped by Lawler of the Tigers, who also had a terrific game.
It's the oldest player on the ground and the youngest player on the ground. He's opposed to Dane Rampy. 16 years difference.
What a battle that is. Final term about to get underway. The Dockers up by 2 against the Swans. Jackson against Grundy, and it's Jackson who palms it down to Sarong. Quick hand pass, beautiful to Brayshaw. Releases Jackson, surging forward. The kick inside forward 50 was poor. Wicks probably should have marked. He lost it. Oh, Bolton pops up with it. Tried to take them on, got tackled, goes to ground, holding the ball. Bolton thought maybe he was taken high by Corey Warner. Not to be, according to the officials. And Corey Warner goes beyond defensive 50 for the Swans. It's taken there by Grundy, just inside the boundary line. Sends it back to Hamling, the former Docker, marking in the left back pocket for Sydney. That would have been the perfect start for Freo. Not to be. Sydney beyond defensive 50. Here's Jackson again, and he takes the mark between wing and right half forward, hard up against the boundary on the southern side of Perth Stadium.
And we started to get very involved in game 100. Luke Jackson, milestone man, sends it inside the forward 50, looking for a marking target. Coming from the side was Tracy. It was punched away by McCartan. Hamling just throws a handball away straight to O'Meara, the Dockers. Now Tracy has it. Bolton tucked up against the boundary line, inboard. Brayshaw unable to mark. Rowbottom was able to steal it away from him. Got it to Chad Warner. High kick through the middle of the ground going back. Luke Ryan, was he impeded? I don't know. Yes. No, yes. It was the non-officiating umpire, I believe, that blew the whistle, and the closest umpire was waiting for confirmation. It was Draper, the other player in the contest, who won the free kick, and he goes wide to the southern side to find Brennan Cox.
Brennan Cox, who you'll hear every Thursdays on ABC Breakfast in Perth with Mark Gibson before a Dockers home game. Kicks towards right half forward to Tracy, who's up to mark. 55 out from goal. He's at right half forward. Tracy sends it towards full forward. Flying Bolton between a number of Swans. Couldn't quite drag it in. Ricocheted away off Murphy Reid. What's the call here? It's going to be a throw-in at right full forward for Freo.
Both teams are claiming it was off an opposition leg. Replay will be interesting.
Not seeing anything at the moment on the big screen. In the meantime, they'll just hurl it back in. Switch our attention out to the middle. Jackson front position, won it down for the Dockers. Clearing kick came from Jordan and stretching, unable to mark exactly Erasmus. He was being infringed. Happily giving away the free kick. Erasmus can go back and have a shot from in line with the right-hand goalpost. He'll put boots a ball from 45 out.
He had the courage to stand under it. He's very good overhead, Neil Erasmus, and have seen him in waffle finals kick a lot of goals. This should be a crucial one for Freo and for himself at this early stage in his career.
It was outstanding for Peel Thunder in their premiership win last year. He trots in Erasmus from right in front, 45 out. It's out to the right-hand side. It's a chance you would normally expect him to make. 57 plays 54. Dockers up by 3. 3 gone in the last.
Blakey goes quickly straight up the middle to Chad Warner, off to his brother by hand, Corey. His kick out wide, looking for Jordan. They've got the numbers, the Swans. Jordan gathers. Handball forward to Campbell. Now needs to find a target inside 50, and that is a horrible option. He kicked it straight to Alex Pearce. The Dockers had all the numbers. In the end, Pearce took an uncontested mark at the top of his defensive goal square. He goes wide by foot to Clark, who exit defensive 50 to O'Driscoll. Another one of those premiership players from Peel in the Waffle last year that was terrific in the final series, and they're carrying it forward into this season to start 2025. The Dockers by foot go across their defensive 50 to Cox, and now O'Meara on the wing as an option slightly further afield in Ryan. Will the heat be a factor for both of these sides? Will the fatigue kick in? Ryan goes towards half forward, flying from behind. Rampy made no real attempt. Tracy brought it to ground. Little pirouette off to Murphy Reid. He'll have to wait a little longer for career goal number 5. It's a minor score. 8-9-57 Fremantle, 7-12-54 the Swans. 4.5 minutes in the final term.
Dockers by 4.
Oh, 10:58, sorry.
Just popped up. Didn't want to chuck you under the bus, Mitch. Here's Lloyd going short to Rampy, who marks for Sydney.
No, you can chuck me under.
No. I've been there. It's not a comfortable place to be. And if he goes beyond defensive 50, he's in battle here. O'Meara against Heaney. O'Meara picked it up. Heaney tackled him. Ball jarred out. Campbell got tackled. That'll be holding the ball. Had the prior. Sarong got him on the logo southern wing.
Big tackle.
Caleb Sarong being well held by his usual standards. Oh, that's a terrible kick. A grubble on the ground. Heaney just stood there, was able to get it, sent it quickly for the Swans towards left half forward to Amati. Wow, great tackle and then a terrible turnover from Sarong. Amati brings it inboard. Comes to the just forward of the centre circles in the middle of the ground. Moves it short, Roberts. In the hands of Chad Warner. Standing at the attacking point of the centre square at left half forward. Has to shield his eyes from the sun. Takes a couple of steps and decides to bomb it long. Very long, but not accurate. He's missed to the left. And plenty of Swans in the goal square. One of them, Amati, suggesting perhaps he could have gone towards them. Minor score to Sydney. They trail by 3. 6 gone in the final term. Earlier today, wins to Brisbane over West Coast by 19 and North over Melbourne by 59.
The old classic stubbed your toe is what happened to Caleb Sarong. Kicked the ground first.
Uncharacteristic mistake. We've got a cracking finish coming up to end round 2. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Out from defensive 50 goes Wagner. Big mark. Over the top was Amos. He's had a quiet day but he stood tall then. He gave it to Brayshaw. Little handball off to Erasmus. Kick up the line looking for Tracy. Couldn't to mark. He was met by Rowbottom. Strong from the Swans midfielder. They win it back. Now McCartan has it. He's harassed by Tracy. Somehow got it to Rowbottom and a beautiful kick inside. Found Grundy on centre wing, and he'll just slow it down for the time being, the veteran.
He's now told to move it on. And Grundy puts it towards right half forward. Amati up against Clark. Clark got a little touch, sort of across the line. At right half forward, the boundary umpire will have to spin it back in.
It's a great spoil from McCartan, wasn't it? Tracy sort of relaxed into the marking contest, but McCartan got his fist in.
Dockers lead by 3. 7 minutes gone in the fourth term. Grundy slapping it forward. O'Driscoll with Heaney in hot pursuit. O'Driscoll got to the footy, took it straight across the boundary line. We're back where we started just moments ago. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner, our experts. Dockers captains Cara Antonio and Peter Bell, both former All-Australians. From the ruck start, Papley shrugged off one tackle, got a kick away for Sydney into the right forward pocket. It bounces. Cox might have been taken without it by McLean. Clark's picking it up off the ground. Sends the ball high up in the air towards left half back. Grundy comes across and is able to take an uncontested mark. Handling did well, just got in the way of Amos. Stopped him trying to get to the drop of the football. Sydney short to Chad Warner. He's at right half forward, about 70 from goal. Goes on a little run. Will pop it up towards the teeth of goal. They come from everywhere. Pearce flew, couldn't mark, spilled down to O'Meara of the Dockers. To Ryan. Got a hurried kick away under pressure. Banfield juggles it and drops it across the boundary line. It'll be a throw in. Right half back for Fremantle. They lead by 3. 8-10-58 to Sydney 7-13-55. 8.5 gone in the last. Sunday footy on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, and of course on the ABC Listen app.
Ball spun back in. Grundy, nice tap to Heaney. Going the wrong way. Handballed it off to Corey Warner. Stepped through traffic. Kicked into the forward pocket. And Pearce came across for Fremantle. Took the intercept mark and switched it across face of goal to Draper. Dangerous kick inboard. Was looking to Cox. Was almost chopped off by McLean. Ball comes down. Tackle laid. Cox taken by, trying to find out, Chad Warner underneath the pack. Took a long time to get to his feet. Fremantle got away with one there, but they're still in danger. Jackson rises up, taps it to Erasmus, clearing kick, going back with courage. Unable to take the mark was Bias. Bolton has it on the wing. Little bounce. Handball to Frederick. 2 speedsters. Frederick's kick up towards half forward. Reed's outnumbered. McCartan gets back first. Reed, brilliant tackle by the young man. Holding the ball. The Dockers take the advantage and the umpire bails them out and says bring it back as they're about to turn it over. And a warm round of applause for Murphy Reed, who goes quickly, kicks it towards Voss, and it's cut off by McCartan, who takes intercept mark deep in defence and flicks it across by foot to Corey Warner.
Both Reeds, whether they Harley or Murphy, got their hometown fans delighted by everything they do. As the Swans head towards the outer side of the ground and Alex Pearce can't quite control it. Taken across the boundary line for a throw-in. Let's head downstairs. A cash photo up.
Sydney have made their sub. Angus Sheldrick is into the game for Brodie Grundy.
Officially the crowd up on the big screen. 43,882. Throwing in again. Sheldrick's out there as O'Driscoll got in front of him and shoveled the hand pass towards right half forward. It's taken over the boundary line for a throw-in.
Just wonder how many players in the back of their mind are thinking, what happens if we lose this game? You've got to try and eliminate that way of thinking, but it can creep in sometimes.
Shea Bolton's at full forward for Fremantle. Rucks are more interested in each other than the footy. Came out the side to Corey Warner, who kicks towards left half forward. Pearce is there for the Dockers, won it against the Marty, tapped it twice to his own advantage. Gathered, was tackled by a Marty, ball spilled free. Clark was able to pick it up, went short to Sarong, tackled by Warner, holding the ball with call. Warner has it for Sydney, attacking edge, attacking point of the centre square at left half forward. The Dockers still lead by 3 points, 11 gone in the last.
Chad Warner sets it up inside the forward 50, flying. Number of players. Pearce dropped the mark of the Dockers on hands and knees just beyond the top of his defensive goal square. He's under pressure. Somehow tunnelled it to Josh Draper. He's tackled. There's a high tackle called. Patley got him high. Josh Draper stands tall. He was brilliant. It was a breakout game for him in that win at the SCG last year. He held up strong there. He goes short to Ryan. Handball forward to Wagner. Kicks it out to the wing, southern side of the ground. So O'Meara has Brayshaw running ahead of him. Gave him the handball. Little bounce from Brayshaw. Kick towards half forwards. Perfect. Oh, Banfield dropped the mark he should have taken. The kick was brilliant by Brayshaw. They've turned it over. Exiting defensive 50. The target is Corey Warner. Jager O'Meara, who has a new lease on life, punches it out of bounds. He's been brilliant. Quickly, a Cash Fodenar downstairs.
Sydney confirming that nothing wrong with Brodie Grundy. The sub was tactical, but in other news, Joel Amadi is limping off with the doctor right now.
He's not.
Probably 5 minutes too early, that sub.
He's not moving smoothly at all, Amadi, at the moment. Spun in again. Right at a telling tap. His head over the football then was Corey Warner. He was tackled to ground by Sarong. Ball up the cool. Stewart right half forward for Fremantle. It's on the ground in shadows now. Tracy does the right work. One it down O'Driscoll. Sockers it forward. Inside attacking 50. Met by Amos. His kick is going up and down. Pretty much on the spot at full forward. Handling underneath it. Spilled down. Amos got it to Bolton, who snaps but doesn't quite get the carry he wants. And it's marked by Heaney. Just in front of the behind line at left full back. No change to that score. Dockers by 3. 13 gone in the last. Sunday footy on ABC Sport. Here's Mitch Turner.
Heaney, long kick out of defensive 50. Laddams got rid of Tracy. Dropped the mark. Wagner there for the Dockers. Tackled by Laddams. Got a handball out though to O'Meara. Now O'Driscoll shows a bit of pace. Kicks it inside the 450. Amos got away from McCartan. Took the mark on the chest. And he will go back from 20 metres out. Slight angle to the right. And just has to finish to give the Dockers some breathing space.
Well, this quarter has started very chaotic. You feel like both sides are trying a little bit too hard. Go back to process what's been working the previous 3 quarters, which is that lower the eyes, hit the targets. Another one from Nathan O'Driscoll. Really good kick inside forward 50.
Jai Amos yet to kick a goal this season. He's got one now. The Freo faithful rise. So too does their lead. It's out to 9 points. 9-10-64 Fremantle. 7-13-55 Sydney. Cracking finish coming up. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Mitch Turner alongside Clint Wilden, our experts. Cara Antonio and Peter Bell.
And probably Fremantle's best 2 midfielders today involved there. Jager O'Meara has been outstanding all day. He got a fist in first of all, stayed involved in the contest, released O'Driscoll, and it's an area of his game, Nathan, that he has to improve, and he knows that is his kicking, but he's laced out Jai Amos. And Jai's, he's fought so hard today, so good to see him get his lick of the ice cream, if you like, with his first goal for the season.
Freo's new attempts to get the crowd up and about, playing Coldplay after the first goal of each quarter. Crowd don't need much reason to get excited now. They're urging their team on. They lead by 9, bounce in the middle. Tracy won it down against Laddams. Knocked out again by Sarong, only as far as Johnson, tackled by Heaney. Still in the centre circles, will ball it up. Thrown aloft. Tracy again won the tap, but it went to Warner. His kick was smothered by Sarong, who'll get a second go as it came back towards him. Went for Hanley, couldn't gather it. Chapman couldn't either. Row bottom had it, was tackled immediately by Chapman. Wrapped him up and took him to ground. Still inside the centre square, but on the attacking edge for Sydney. Ball put up into the air. Tracy. Tapped it down. Laddams knocked it forward. Came again towards Chapman, though, of the Dockers. Tried to work at the Brayshaw. Oh, twice having a go. Johnson couldn't gather. Eventually just sockers it forward. Bolton comes out to try to meet it. Bounced away from him. O'Meara's been busy today. Here he is again. Gathers it. Gave it to Bolton for the Dockers. Kicks towards centre half forward. Coming out the mark, Erasmus. Banfield's on his own at full forward. Instead he goes shorter than that. Finds Voss. Voss was in front and only 35 out from goal, and that's where Erasmus went. I know the old cliche, and some people don't like it, but lowered the eyes. He did exactly that, Erasmus, and Shaw saw the option on short.
There was a back lead from Banfield that just created a pocket of space. A little bit of a block from Amos as well that allowed Voss to get on the end of this one. Really nice passage of play, forward craft.
Voss, he's got 1-2 and one out of bounds on the full. Patrick Voss from right in front. Oh, goodness, he's hit the right-hand goal upright. It's a 10-point lead to Fremantle. Voss, another opportunity spurn. 9-11 plays 7-13, 17 gone in the last.
Swans go quickly. Roberts has the ball in hand. Dangerous kick towards the centre-half back area. Found Warner. He's having a big last corner. Is the Chad. He goes up towards centre-half forward. Tracy in front of the Dockers. Couldn't mark. Brilliantly eroded by Sheldrick. The young Swan in front of his home crowd of WA, and he blows his lines. He misses to the right.
Well, Cara identified this earlier. They look so dangerous from their kick-ins. They've really found a way through Fremantle at ease on occasion, and just an errant kick at the end saved Fremantle.
Margin back to 9, 7-14, 56 the Swans, 9-11, 65 the Dockers.
That's a good mark from Alex Pearce. Ryan set him a target, set him a challenge with the clean right with him, and the Dockers captain could drag it in the left back pocket. He'll kick to the logo northern wing. Voss front position. Comes off hands. Amos was involved there too. So too Laddams. Ball's going to be locked in here. Jordan, the last player to have it for the Swans. He throws it back to the umpire.
Caleb Sarong coming to the bench for a spell.
Jackson palmed it down beautifully over his shoulder to O'Meara. Kicks towards Voss at left half forward. Can't mark. Pressure came from handling. Followed it up though. Gathered it, did Voss. Went to the logo. Not a great kick off the side of the boot. In the middle of the ground. Marked there by Campbell. Got a shove by Chapman afterwards. And then immediately he looked at the umpire, Chapman, as if he'd given away the free kick. And the 50 not to beat. Campbell takes the kick. Moves it to Florent. By hand to Campbell. Stabs it to Lloyd. Running by Bice, receives it, runs to left half forward, keeps going inside forward 50, sends it towards goal. That's a great kick. His first in the game and his first in league footy. An absolute beauty from Riley Bice, the 24-year-old, an MVP in 23 in the Ovens and Murray. Went across to try his luck in the VFL and then got picked up by the Sydney Swans. 41 in the 24 draft. And he's got a goal now that brings this game back to within 3. 9-11-65 to 8-14-62. The Dockers still in front as we're about to hit time on in the last.
Oh, it was a great bit of play and a great goal from Riley Bice, who had a lot of suitors after a terrific year at Werribee last year, as you mentioned, Clint. And Paddy Voss, there's small margins, aren't they? A beautiful bit of play, but then just poor skill execution in the end and poor decision-making allowed Sydney a look, and they were good enough to take full advantage.
Shea Bolton shot Patrick Voss a dirty look because he was steaming him in the forward line, and he wanted him to put it out in front. Ball back in the middle. Jackson does the roving. Handball in front of Johnson. Couldn't gather. Jackson goes back into the Dockers. He's tackled immediately by Laddams. He'll have the ball up. Brody Grundy's been subbed off. Laddams will do the majority of the ruck work for the Swans for the remainder of the game. He wins the hit out here opposed to Jackson. Straight though to Sarong. Somehow managed to gather at his kick. It's a bit of a wobbler. Went out wide to Sharp. Southern side of the ground. Spears a low one in looking for Reid. Clever little soccer by Murphy Reid. Found Frederick. Handball back to Sharp. High up and under inside forward 50. In front of Hamling to Science to punch and spoil. And he knocks it out of bounds. If that was deliberate by Murphy Reid, that was a terrific little trap foot kind of pass, soccer style. Anyway, boundary throw-in, 35 metres around from the Dockers' goal. They still lead by 3 points. Sunday afternoon footy on ABC Sport.
We've mentioned it's warm, but the ice vests are out every time players head towards the bench. Laddams palmed it down for the Swans, bounced away from McCartan, had to turn, tackled by Tracy. Ball jarred out to Frederick, hand pass to O'Meara. Now an opportunity for Erasmus. His kick is up into the air towards full forward. Big pack there, spills off hands, Rowbottom at the drop for the Swans. His clearing kick only as far as Chapman of Fremantle at left half forward. Steers it back inboard to Johnson. Marks just shy of the attacking point of the centre square at left half forward. Freo lead by 3. 21 and a half gone in the last. Johnson will put it back towards full forward. 4 up, offhand, spilled down to Heaney. Gave it back to Roberts. Tumbles a kick towards centre half back. Clark flies and marks against Henley. Nicely done by Jordan Clark of Fremantle. And he'll steer it back towards the centre circles for Cox, who'll go out towards Ryan, who marks in front of the logo, southern side of the ground. 9-11 plays 8-14. Dockers by 3, 22 gone in the last.
Ryan plays on, rolls, kicks inside the 450 out the back. Jackson couldn't mark. Laddams roved it beautifully, danced around Andrew Brayshaw, the big man, kicks it out to the wing, one-on-one, McLean v Cox, and it goes off hands, out of bounds. You have to say that's a win for the Swans.
Just needed more representation at ground level there, Fremantle. You can't let the big ruckman steam outside of D50 without any pressure.
Boundary throw in, southern side of the ground. Completely covered in the shade now. Sunday afternoon here in the west. Ball spun back in. Laddams, knocked Jackson out of the way. Tapped it down. Heaney locked up with Brayshaw. And they'll ball it up. Just slightly favouring the Dockers' attacking side of the wing. Jackson, little palm down towards Brayshaw. Couldn't take it. Ran into Rowbottom. Knocked him off the ball. The handball forward by the Swans. Corey Warner's under pressure. He tries to paddle it forward for a teammate. Sarong stole it. Little snap around the body. There's a whistle. And a lot of looking.
Fremantle's way.
Just a late drag down maybe on Caleb Sarong. It's a Murphy-Reid free kick. Kick and a half from home. Chip over the top. Sharp marks at 55 out. Plays on immediately. Kicks it towards the top of the goal square. Hamlin comes in. Gets a little fist on it. It falls to Florent for the Swans. Waits for a runner to come with him. Ends up going over the top to Bias. Nice little fake with a handball. Kicks in the middle and finds Rowbottom.
Rowbottom has the pause, allowing Swans to run with him. He finds Roberts, kicks long towards centre half forward. Up goes Corey Warner. Couldn't mark against Sarong. Sarong won the battle. Got the footy. Kicks in the direction of Reid. He can't mark. Lloyd in front of him. Reid slaps it back, trying to get it in the direction of Sharp, who's happy enough to take it over the boundary line with Blakey right with him.
Such an honest contest. Great efforts from players of both sides. Outstanding spoil there by Sarong.
Saw a moment ago the two coaches on the big screen. They used to ruck against each other in Western Derbies. Derby 60 next week. Will the Dockers head into it with a win? Find out in the next 5 minutes or so. The restart, Jackson won it down for Fremantle, went to Heaney, hurried kick forward only as far as Clark on the logo, southern wing, got it for the Dockers, gave it on to Bolton, kicked towards centre half forward, Hamling spoils against Moss, tapped it immediately by O'Meara. The ball's jarred out, Sydney will emerge with it, arching the back and doing well as Bice, and he kicks into the middle of the ground, he finds Chad Warner, commentary edge of the centre circles. Kicks towards left half forward. A chance to set up here for Heaney. Has the backtrack around Draper. Spots Rowbottom. Marks uncontested at centre half forward at the top of the goal square. Tells his players to go forward inside attacking 50. Rowbottom will kick long towards right full forward. Amani got rid of Cox and he takes the mark. He'll go back and shoot 45-degree angle from no more than 20 outs, and this will put the Swans in front.
Just another bit of probably fatigue but poor team defence from Fremantle. Opened up the corridor again. Numbers sagging back, guarding grass. It just opened up for Sydney and they get on the end of one.
Amati to put Sydney in front with less than 2 minutes to play. He steers it through, lets the crowd know about it and celebrates with his fellow Swans. Sydney up by 3 points, 9-14-68 to the Dockers, 9-11-65. 26 gone in the final term. It was the Dockers by 22 at quarter time, by 9 at half time, by 2 At three-quarter time, the Swans lead by 3 with less than 2 to play.
Now you go straight into your win the game scenario, which you've trained all pre-season, and Sydney, they'll be trying to save the game, so they'll be doing their counter plan to what Fremantle are going to throw at them.
She was a big fist pump in the box from Dean Cox. He wants that first win. The Swans haven't gone 0-3 in 8 years. Right now, they're in front by 3 points. They're in enemy territory. The odds stacked against them. They're up by 3. Ball in the middle, comes down, row bottom, got it to Jordan. They go forward, Sydney. They win the clearance. Draper in front, tries to tap it to a teammate. Chad Warner gathered it. Somehow got a handball. Swans have got numbers everywhere. The Dockers win it. Clark couldn't find a teammate. Sarong on hands and knees. Got it forward. Clark tapped to Brayshaw. Back to Clark by hand. Running through the middle of Perth Stadium. He takes a bounce. Looks for a target inside the forward 50. Blakey could have marked. He punched it instead. Finally gets it to a teammate. Tackled was Corey Warner. Dispossessed. Umpire said play on. Roberts was stripped. He's allowed to get away with it as well. And then Corey Warner wraps up with Jeremy Sharp. The crowd's involved. Players are under pressure. Ball's going to be tossed up 60 out from the Dockers' goal. Jackson taps it forward. No teammate can take it. He follows up his own work. Handballs to O'Driscoll. Tackled by Swans. Off to Sarong from 40 to put the Dockers in front. He misses. And a free kick will come back. I think it was a throw. It was. The score doesn't count. It wouldn't have mattered. The Dockers need a goal. It's a free kick to the Swans. Dying stage of this game. 28 minutes gone. They'll have it. 40 metres out from their own goal. It's Roberts, I believe, who's won the free kick.
They just had to get it back to him. 28 and a half gone, as Mitch said. Sydney by 3. Roberts will kick towards centre wing, southern side. Massive pack up. Pearce got the fist on it, went straight to Chad Warner, taken high by Bolton. They've said a few words to each other afterwards, but it will come back for Chad Warner to have the free kick. And this, you think, might just about do it. Sydney, I reckon, have led for about 7 minutes throughout the entire contest. Had the ball at left half back. Lloyd kicks in the direction of Heaney. Dropped it, picked up by Draper. Here's Sharp. Sharp will send it inside forward 50. The siren has sounded. Dean Cox has his first win as Swans coach. Sydney with their first win of the season. The Dockers, they slump to the ground and they will go into Derby 60 0-2. But Sydney win a thriller. The Swans home by 3 points. 9-14-68 to Fremantle 9-11-65. So Sydney, after losing their opening 2 games of the season, hit back to beat Fremantle in the West by 3. They trailed by 22 points at quarter time, by 9 at the half, by 2 at three-quarter time, and got home to win by 3. The siren sounding as the ball was sent inside Fremantle's forward 50. Not to be for the Dockers. Sydney, they have the bye next week. The Dockers against the Eagles. The red and the white, honour the name by day and by night. Lift that noble banner high, shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or small, Swans will go in and win overall. While our loyal Swans are marching onwards to victory. The goal kickers for the Swans, 2 to Joel Amati, and it was his goal late with about 2 minutes left that put them in front, a lead that they were able to hang on to. 2 to Hayden McLean and singles to Chad Warner, Haywood, Laddams, Bice and Hanley. While for Fremantle, 4 to Josh Tracy, singles to Sarong, to Jackson, to Voss and to Banfield. But Patrick Voss would know that he's ended up with a goal kicker's full house. A goal, 2 behinds, a poster and an out of bounds on the full. Fremantle would look at the scoreboard and go, they spurn some opportunities. As Laurel from Rushworth on the text line sends in a message to say, another way to lose. How you feeling if you're a Fremantle fan? Let us know, 0437 774 774. If you're listening throughout Sydney and ACT on News Radio, how are you after the Swans were able to get their first win of the year? They're 1-3, 1-2 rather, from 3 games with the bye next week. Sydney by 3 points, 9-14 to 9-11. Let's get the thoughts of our experts. Sunday footy on ABC Sport, on ABC Radio, Sport Digital, News Radio and the ABC Listen app. Dual premiership player, All-Australian Peter Bell, All-Australian Cara Antonio.
An amazing game, and first of all, congratulations to Dean Cox for his first win as a senior coach in the AFL, and his team came into this important contest 0-2, but with their game in pretty good shape. I think everyone recognised that, and in the end, Cara, I thought, look, it's a cruel game, I suppose, if you're a Fremantle supporter and a Fremantle player today, because it could have gone either way, but probably in that last quarter, they just were better in those moments, and Fremantle had their opportunities, and it's a tough call, but those shots at goal that Fremantle had weren't able to convert, and then in the end, a one-on-one contest on a slow play inside 50 where Amati was just too good in that contest. That's the difference in the match, and that is the fine margins that we play under in AFL football.
You're right, Belly. Sydney were able to capitalise 2 goals to that quarter, Fremantle 1 goal 3. So exactly the same scoring opportunities, but in the end, Sydney made more of their opportunities going inside. You look at the stat sheet for that final quarter, Fremantle pretty much dominated every, I suppose, area of the ground. +3 in inside 50s, +6 in tackles, the clearance, the hit-outs when Grundy went off, many opportunities, but they weren't able to win the major stat, which was the one on the scoreboard. So you're right, I think maybe just some experience and composure, and from the Sydney players, they've, again, played a lot of footy together and probably been in these situations far more than the young Fremantle side. So, yeah, an incredible last quarter of footy. Could have gone either way, but Sydney just making the most of their opportunities and really dominating with ball movement, I thought, from halfback, providing their forwards with the most opportunity to score down the other end.
There was just so much tension in the game in the last quarter, and look, both sides were making mistakes. You add in the fatigue from a really warm day here in Perth, and look, it is cruel that one team has to come away with a loss, but that's the way footy is, and this is a really great moment for Sydney and for Dean Cox, and I did think that as the game went on, their superstar in Chad Warner started to wield more and more influence in the game, and he was crucial in that last quarter, not just for his skill, but just for his composure and organisation as well. And it was just those moments that Sydney were able to handle just that little bit better than Fremantle, and yeah, it's a brutal lesson for the Dockers.
You're right, he had 10 in that last quarter, yep. Chad Warner, massive, 3 inside 50s as well, so was able to capitalise and again get it in nice and deep, 5 marks, clearance and a couple of tackles. He was outstanding in that last quarter.
How important, particularly now with the early bye, for Sydney to be able to go into it with that win? You mentioned how important it is for Dean Cox. Absolutely. All the work you've done, you now feel like you've been rewarded with 4 points. But as a football club, if you lose your opening 3, if they'd lost their opening 3, and then they have an entire week to sit around and question, is everything we did in pre-season right? We need to do something.
It gives them that nice little springboard. It's a wonderful bonding experience when you come over under that sort of adversity on a road trip. You spend a lot of time with each other, and to come away with the nourishment of 4 points just gives you that little springboard into the bye, where you can get some more training in for those players that are a bit banged up, get them rested and get them rejuvenated and prepare to take on the rest of the AFL season. So this is what could be a really key moment for the Sydney Swans' fortunes in season 25, and some further questions, I suppose, for Fremantle, who were gallant today, but just again those fundamental skill errors, drop marks, inaccuracy at times, which Sydney also had, but just that composure in the key moments. I thought that was the margin in the game, which wasn't very much at all, but there was a margin.
If you want to be depressed, by the way, if you're here in WA right now, the ladder looks like this. West Coast on 18th, Fremantle on 17th on the ladder. So it's not pretty looking once mighty WA in terms of football. And they'll play each other next week. So barring a draw, you would say that one of those teams is going to get their breakthrough win for the season. The Swans, plenty of Swans fans here in the West. They've gone across to say well done to them, and Swans fans will be delighted by the way that they've just joined up the Sydney players in a tight huddle, being addressed out in the middle. Plenty of laughs as they break away too, and they'll make their way down into the rooms where the Cash voted up is waiting for them and for the club song. Mitch Turner is headed down to the Fremantle rooms. Marcus from South Melbourne, Cara and Billy, totally correct. Basic skill errors cost our Dockers a win against a more professional Sydney. And there were those little moments, and one of them being that last moment where Joel Amati, to kick his second goal, was just able to get away from Brendan Cox. Let's head down into the Sydney rooms. The Cash Fotodar is down amongst them as they make their way in. A Cash.
Yeah, a raucous team as they come in here. They've all jumped over Coach Dean Cox, of course, celebrating his first win as senior coach. I don't think I've ever seen a coach mob like this during a home and away game. He's now been covered in all the sports drink. He had some friends and family down here as well, Dean, and he was hugging and congratulating with them before the players got down here. And now he's been absolutely mobbed by all his players, and he's in the huddle for the team song as well, Dean Cox. I think they're really going to enjoy this one. And they're just about to belt it out. Here we go. As you expect, a pretty happy bunch down here, Clint. We'll have someone shortly.
And also getting the sports drink shower along with the coach. You don't often see getting the sports drink shower. Riley Bice, Joel Hamling and Tom Hanley with their first win in Sydney colours, all getting drenched in the middle. We'll head back to a Cash when we've got someone for you. As I mentioned before, Mitch Turner heading down into the Fremantle rooms. We'll bring you someone here on ABC Sports coverage of the AFL in 2025 very shortly. Sunday footy, Clint Wilden with you. Peter Bell and Cara Antonio are with me. Let's have a look at some of the numbers. Chad Warner had 26 disposals. Lloyd with 25. Roberts 25. Jordan 24. And I want to get Belly and Cara's thoughts on Jordan's effort with what it meant for Sarong today in just a moment. Rowbottom with 22. O'Meara with 32 for the Dockers led all comers. O'Driscoll with 25. Clark with 24. Ryan 23. Wagner, Corey of course, and Jackson both with 20 disposals apiece. The hit-outs went the way of Fremantle 34-31. Jackson had 28, Grundy with 23, but he was subbed out, of course, at the end. That's important to note that. The marks were the way of Sydney, 94-83. I think a Cash Fotodar's ready to go downstairs. A Cash.
James, well, first win of the season. How does it feel to get the little monkey off the back and get on the winners board?
Yeah, it was a great four-quarter win from the boys, and to get Coxie his first win in his home state, it's even better.
Yeah, what does that mean to the guys? I saw you all come in and mob him. I haven't seen a coach mob like that before for a win. What does he mean to the group? Of course, he's an assistant for a long time, now taken over the senior coaching. Was there a bit of let's do it for Coxie in front of his home fans or Perth crowd?
Yeah, absolutely. You come over here and, you want to play the best footy you can, especially for him. And, he's a great coach and, he's built a great relationship over the number of years that he's been at the club. And, I've only had him for a year and a half and, I love him. So he's been awesome.
You've had, you're part of that, midfield battle today, which looked quite intense for most of the game. How did you find that balanced out over the course of the match? How do you think it went in there?
Yeah, I felt like we played some pretty good footy as a midfield group and, we felt like our process was right. We were just a bit fumbly at times and, they probably capitalised on that. But, I felt like our clearance numbers and, around the contest we were very good. And, Chatty and Isaac and Rowie in there, they're bulls and, they're stars of the competition.
And last week you did a terrific job locking down Lockie Neal. Did you have as hard a tag on anyone today?
Yeah, I was on Sarong for the game. He's a quality player and, he's going to be a quality player for a long time and, I've got a lot of respect for him.
How did you find that battle between you and Caleb?
Yeah, it's a good battle. He's a very competitive person, and I was just trying to nullify his impact around the stoppages. He's a very impactful player, and I was trying to make an impact myself. Hopefully going the other way.
I'll send it upstairs to our team, Clint Wheeldon, and our experts, Peter Bell and Cara Antonio.
G'day, James. Congratulations on the win. It just seemed like, particularly in the first half, that ability to just butter up contested effort and stay involved in the contest, maybe get, strip a ball and just continue with those efforts was a crucial way to get that field dominance.
Yeah, absolutely. We probably didn't help ourselves in the first half going inside 50 and, we probably went a bit shallow at times and they were able to capitalise on that. But I felt like the boys' efforts around the contest was awesome and, I felt like we did that for 4 quarters.
When you're playing against some of the absolute guns of the AFL, Caleb Sarong's a very good player, Lockie Neal's obviously a champion, just take us inside how you approach preparing through the week.
Yeah, so Coxie will come to me early in the week and let me know that that's my job and that's my role for the team this week. And, I'll sit down with my line coach and, watch some vision and, just talk about how I can impact the game as well. I want to be able to, be a player that can, nullify someone and then have an impact going the other way as well.
And did you feel like the team, even though 0-2, you're in pretty good shape in the season, really, with the way that you were playing?
Yeah, absolutely. We've played 2 quality oppositions, the first 2 rounds, and, we probably just didn't do it for 4 quarters. And, I felt like today, even though we weren't ahead on the scoreboard early, we were still playing the right way and, we were able to, stick it out for 4 quarters and get the win.
James, Cara Antonio here, congratulations on the win. It looks like, I suppose, for those 4 quarters that there was just so much belief within the group with your Sydney mob. What was said at 3-quarter time? It was obviously a tight contest for the 4 quarters, but what was said to get you guys over the line?
I think it was just reiterating, what we spoke about before the game, and that was making sure we're strong in the contest and our defence, and we can play a forward half game. If we can play a forward half game, and it allows us to squeeze the ground and get repeats, and I felt like we were able to do that tonight. And we were very strong in the contest, and I felt like our contest held up.
It was obviously a very high pressure game. We spoke about it for the entire game. The tackle count, you obviously were down a lot, but led the tackle count. You obviously won the game. You were plus, 20 plus at times. Was that a focus leading into the game?
Yeah, definitely. We felt like at times last week our Brisbane got on top of us in the contest, and we had to focus on that going into this week. We've got a few of our key players out, and I thought Chad, Isaac, Rowie, they were awesome tonight.
And your ball movement, one from the back half that I loved watching for the entirety, especially from kick-ins. Is this something that we're going to see more of? Is this a Coxie thing that he's brought in? Just the ability to move the ball really quickly from kick-outs and give your forwards most opportunity? Yeah,
we've got some pretty good kickers down there in Lizard and Matty Roberts. So, and even Bicey today was very good, and they're very impactful with their kicking, and Coxie just tells them, backs them in, and to go for it really. So they were on tonight.
James Jordan from the City Football Club is with us downstairs. I think we talk to you every time you come across here and win, James, so it's always nice to have a chat. Tell us, you mentioned his name, Riley Bice. From what I've seen in the couple of games so far, since he's been elevated up onto the Swans list, he looks like a beauty at 24. Tell us about him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good country boy, and he's just come in and played his way really, and he's got a beautiful left foot, and his run and dashes are his strength. And Coxie just even last week just said to him, just come on and just play to your strengths. We'll back you in. And he's been doing that did that tonight as well. And I think he's going to be a great player for us.
Take us inside the four walls if you can. Just before you went down into the rooms, you came together as a tight group, and there was something said. Can you give us an indication to your fans listening throughout news radio in New South Wales what was going on at that moment?
Just the leaders brought us in, and they just said they were proud of us just for the we've got a lot of young boys playing tonight. They're just proud of the effort that we were able to hang in there and then get the job done. And when we come in and get that win for Coxie, it's pretty special in his home state.
What does next week entail for you with the early bye?
Yeah, we do have a bye, so I'll just head back to Sydney, and hopefully the weather's pretty good, and I'll just be putting the feet up.
Congratulations on the win. You were around and about the last two. You're certainly in the mix, and you've been able to get the points today. Well done.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
James Jordan downstairs speaking to us from the Sydney Swans room. Tremendous performance from the Swans, just getting enough done to get over the line against the Fremantle Dockers. We'll be heading down in just a moment, when we can, to the Fremantle rooms. Mitch Turner's down there. Our experts up here in the box, Cara Antonio, Peter Bell.
And Sarong, as you'd expect, he tried really, really hard, and it is very difficult because James Jordan, very disciplined, but Jordan ended up having 10 clearances himself, had some score involvements. He was a very good player for Sydney and probably shaded Sarong.
Let's head down into the Dockers rooms. Mitch Turner.
Clint, joined by midfielder Jager O'Meara. Jager, really disappointing way to, I guess, to end round two for you guys there. A second loss, and a game you almost had one right at the end. How's that one feel?
Yeah, stinging a lot. We weren't good enough for long enough, and I think in those little moments that matter a lot, we stuffed them up. So we've got to get better in those moments, particularly when the game's there to be done with. We just weren't good enough. So I think we obviously a lot better than last week. We were good in the contest. Sydney always bring a lot of heat in the contest, and I think we matched them for the majority of the game, but we just weren't good enough in those little moments.
The pressure seemed to go up in that last quarter for both sides, both pretty desperate to get your first win of the season. Could you feel that pressure lift in that final quarter and that the final 10 minutes specifically?
Yeah, for sure. That's footy these days. It's a pressure game. Every team's trying to bring as much pressure as they can onto the opposition. Sydney and us are no different, so it probably lifted a little bit in the last quarter, and we weren't able to maximise those moments that we had. And they kicked a couple of goals late from turnover from us. So it's really disappointing.
Before I throw you upstairs, another 30-plus disposal game for you today. Really, two really good games to start the season for you. Do you look a bit rejuvenated? You've got a lot of energy. Is there a role change? What's the big spike in form to start the year?
Having a pre-season helps a lot. I'm playing a little, I guess, with Hayden Young and Fifey, not in the team at the moment. That has opened up an opportunity for me to play a little bit more midfield minutes. I think certainly having a pre-season helps.
I'll throw you upstairs to our team, Clint Wheeldon, alongside our two experts, Cara Antonio and Peter Bell.
G'day, Jags. Just talking about those moments, you're a really experienced player who's been around for a long time. How do you train those, and how does the team get better in those moments?
Yeah, Belly, we've been training them all pre-season, so that's the most disappointing thing. Is something that we learned from last year was we weren't good enough in the moments, particularly late in games, and we got run over a fair bit last year. I think we were the best team in the comp in terms of leading at three-quarter time or top two or something like that. So we've trained that a lot. So that's a disappointing part is what we trained we haven't been able to adapt to in this game. So it hurts certainly.
And perhaps just for the benefit of the audience, as a leader of the club, take us through what your role will look like in the next 48 hours. Obviously, there's recovery tomorrow, but then the next full day of training. What you as a leader, what your responsibility is.
We've got a good leadership group. It's a different group. We've got some young guys in there. We've got some experience in there, and we'll go to work and have a look at how we can improve, particularly in those moments that I'm speaking about late in games, and even late in quarters. Like there are a few moments where we should have been just trying to kill the game a little bit and take the opportunity going into quarter time, three-quarter time, whenever it was, and weren't able to do that. So we'll have a look at the tape, go through some trademark stuff and, recover and get ready for West Coast.
Was there any mention made, I think Sydney just were able to release the pressure valve on occasion, as identified by Cara up here, just from kick-ins occasionally? It seemed like there was a breakdown on a few occasions today?
Yeah, a little bit. McCartan was obviously running pretty quick to that open side, and they were able to use that a few times. We weren't onto it quick enough. Teams are doing that these days. You see Hawthorn doing it a lot. A few teams are trying to do it. So we pride ourselves on our team defence and getting set up and organised on kicking defence, and there was a room for improvement today.
Jager, Cara Antonio here. Sorry about the loss. Your individual game I thought was outstanding, but also the likes of Nathan O'Driscoll. How's his? I heard he's had a really great pre-season, but I've been impressed with his last 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks, Cara. Yeah, Drizzy brings something different to our team. He's obviously got some great leg speed and great endurance, and he breaks the lines for us. He plays with a lot of energy. So, looking forward to what he can do for this year. He's had a really good pre-season, and he just brings something different to our midfield.
And obviously it's hard always talking after a loss, so I really appreciate your time, but there's no better team to come up against next week than the Eagles. Quick turnaround, got to review this one and then on to the big derby. How are we going to address that one?
We'll have a look at this game first, and then obviously West Coast, I saw at half-time against Brisbane, we were ahead of them, so they were really testing them out. I don't think they got across the line, but they're going to be hungry for their first win, as are we, and Western Derby's always a really tough fight, so it doesn't matter where you are on the ladder. Both of us are 0-2 now, so hungry as ever to get a win.
Jager, we appreciate your time. Best of luck for Derby 60 next week.
Thanks very much. Cheers, guys.
Jager O'Meara downstairs for the Fremantle Dockers. As we mentioned, 32 disposals, 4 marks, 11 ground ball gets, 5 clearances. He had an outstanding game today for the Dockers, but not enough to stop the Swans. Sydney winning by 3 points, 9-14-68 to 9-11-65. Just going back, the Caleb Sarong-Jordan battle. The efforts of Jordan have now become so outstanding that Fremantle were just trying to get at times Sarong out of that contest. We saw him put him in other positions just so he could try and get his hands on the football. He's become an elite tagger, Jordan.
Yeah, and it takes a really disciplined person to be able to do that when you're playing against the stars of the competition. And don't worry, all of Caleb's teammates, including Jager, who we just spoke to, were doing everything they could to try and free Jager up. So in some ways, you're having a battle. You're having a battle against an entire team, and James Jordan just sticks at his task, and he can do it against midfielders, he can do it against halfbacks, he can do it against whomever John Longmire and now Dean Cox ask him to do. So it's wonderful to have a player of that flexibility, and I just wonder sometimes why more coaches don't do it.
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because, the tagger back in the day was just focused purely on their direct opponent. So it doesn't matter if you don't get a touch. It was to nullify your direct opponent. But Jordan's had 24 himself. You mentioned it, Belly, 10 clearances. So he's beaten Sarong to the ball in the little circles. He's had the 17 handballs, but he's been able to break the bubble, as we say, get it to the outside, to the runners like your Chad Warners and your Rowe Bottoms, etc., and your Heaney's, to create some play from inside the contest. So I thought he was very good. Sarong obviously still had 19 touches, 10 of those handballs again, but only 200 metres gained. So he's not where he has been, I suppose, in the past, and Jordan was able to do his job really well.
Well, he was able to shut down Lachie Neale. Outstanding performance, held Neale to no touches for consecutive quarters for the first time in a long time, and ended up with just double figures last week, and he's done another outstanding job today on Caleb Sarong. Those other stats I didn't quite get to, but the total disposals to Fremantle, 363 to 348. The uncontested possessions, Fremantle 216 to 207. Contested, Sydney 132, lost that to Fremantle 140. So Fremantle winning a lot of those stats. I mentioned the marks, Sydney 94 to 83, but inside 50, marks 12 to 9 to Fremantle. Inside 50s went Fremantle's way as well, 59-55. They won the ground ball gets 103-94. They won the hit-outs 34-31. But again, I do underline that Grundy didn't finish the game off. He was subbed out tactically, as we were told by Akash. The clearances did go Sydney's way, 37-25. The tackles also to Sydney, 57-48. And they won the free kick count as well, 18-15. More importantly, they won the 4 points, getting home by 3 points, 9-14-68 to 9-11-65 in front of a crowd of 43,882. The Dockers over Sydney. The results today, earlier on, Brisbane over West Coast by 19 points, North Melbourne over Melbourne by 59 points, which means next week's Derby 60 has two sides that haven't had a win yet, Fremantle and the West Coast Eagles. And when do we start to get worried about the Fremantle Dockers, Peter Bell, Cara Antonia? And I only say this because if you were going to finish in the top four and there was a genuine expectation that they were going to win a final this year and have a real push, and they certainly have from what we see on the ground, the ability and the players to do that, they're now 0-2.
Yeah, I thought they were pretty good today. Look, we've laboured the point around the skill execution letting them down, but they needed to respond from a really poor performance in round one, and I think they did today against a quality opposition. But at some stage, you need to bank the points as well, and very good clubs can start with like Brisbane did last year, a 0-3, and Sydney of a few years ago, and many other instances of that happening. Fremantle can be a unique environment when the pressure's really on, and this is still a young group in some respects. So I feel like without that, again, that nourishment of the 4 points, the pressure builds, and I'm just not sure how well, if that pressure continues to build, that perhaps the club will be able to deal with it. So this week is absolutely crucial, and West Coast have shown in a corresponding fixture last year that they're very, very dangerous, and they obviously had their chances against Brisbane in Brisbane today, and without having had a good look at that match yet, that was right to the line is what I understand, and they had their chances. So by no means are West Coast any pushover with a home ground advantage as well. So I'm prepared to say that, Fremantle are on the right path, but they need to start winning. I mean, it sounds silly at round two, but it's a big handicap in the season, coming from even a couple of games behind the pack.
And one of the issues for Fremantle and for both the WA clubs is the travel. This is the start of 3 games. They're not home games because it's a West Coast home game next week, but 3 games where they don't have to get on a plane. So when you sort of map out a season, the Dockers would have been really hoping that these were 3 wins that they could have had with the ability to not have to travel anywhere.
Yeah, for sure. There'll be positives to come out of today. I think, Shea Bolton will be better for the run. I'm not sure how much training he's been able to do over the last couple of weeks, and maybe, just maybe, a little bit of fatigue set in late, and just a little bit of touch eluded him, and just, a couple of shots at goal that he would usually hit, and he missed. He did make the distance a couple of times as well, so he'll be a lot better for the run, and I thought he had an influence today as well.
Let's take a little bit of Justin Longmill.
Needed to send the ball to different areas, and I think youngish players getting caught up in moments at the moment, and we need to make sure that in those moments, whilst we would like to score, we need to make sure we're not left vulnerable behind the ball. There's probably 3 or 4 moments where with the ball that we need to send the ball to a different area, and we might not. It might closes our chance off of scoring a little bit, but we won't be vulnerable to them scoring, and we'll be able to play the game in the area that we want. So we weren't good enough in those moments.
Do you worry that, having had those close losses last year and then you drop this one now, that it's going to be in their heads a lot more now? It's going to be harder for them to get over that hump? No, because I think there's some things there we'll take out that we executed really well. Overall, after the disappointment of last week, we got a lot of things right today. So I understand the focus might be on the last few minutes and how we coughed up the win, but in review we'll be a bit more holistic and try and build off other areas of our game as well.
what did you make of the midfield battles and the matchups that were happening in there?
Thought it was pretty even. Overall, they got us at stoppage, and there's a few things that concerned us there, but overall I thought it was a decent matchup.
The support for Caleb Sarong, was it better than it has been in the past?
Yeah, I think so. Like, he obviously does a lot of work as well to support the team in those moments. And didn't think he fought his own battle out there. So I thought it was, he had some impact for us. And his impact might not show up in the stats. The other stuff he does to free other players up and make life easier for other players by making 2v1s and that type of stuff. He's really selfless in that area.
Justin, are you concerned there are a couple of goals that came from, I guess, a bit of sloppy defence? Like a lot of their guys found the mid-channel and there was no one marking them. Is that a concern that it's just not the communication or it's just not working?
Oh, I think if you look both sides of the ball, second half, hot day, fatigue really got into that game, and I think you could ask Coxie the same thing. And we had players out, and in those situations when it goes turnover to turnover and fatigue creeps in, it becomes about whoever uses the ball better. And we just left ourselves so vulnerable with some of our kicks, especially late in the game. So that's probably the aspect to lean on more. Like, our kick in defence wasn't great all day, and we didn't adjust quick enough. In the last quarter, I think we had 10 opportunities to go end to end, and they didn't rebound 50 inside 51. So we just need to be a bit more mature. The way we use the ball plays a big part in how you defend when the game becomes like that.
How much did you miss Walker once you lost him with the shoulder, and how was that?
He's going to be sore. He's dislocated his shoulder. It's the same one he hurt over the pre-season. So, I haven't had an update from the doctors, but it doesn't look great. And I thought Drapes came on and played his role really well. So, we'll see where it lands.
What did you make of Bolton's first game?
I thought he was lively. I have to go back and review it, and whatever he put out there today, he's going to build off. He's come off a pretty low base. He hasn't had a great run into his first game, so hopefully he pulls up well. And it's his first opportunity to play with his teammates really in a long time, and he probably one inch club with them, and hasn't had a lot of footy with his teammates outside of the 1 inch club and the Melbourne game. So he'll build off whatever he produced today.
What sort of time frame do you think he'll need to, fitness-wise and gelling with the team, to really get up and running?
I'm not sure. I haven't really put much thought into that.
Do you like the way your ruck set up looked today with Voss coming in and Jackson being the dominant guy?
Have a look at it. It's second ruck. I thought Jacko competed really, really well. Then we'll just have to look at the second ruck. Review it, see what the best mix is. When you've got key forwards coming up against genuine rucks like Laddams and Grundy, it's a bit of a tall ask. So we'll have to review that one, see what the best mix is for next week and going forward.
When you look at the inexperience within your group, and you're trying to get game time into flight. Waffle at the moment, he's experienced obviously and know how that can be really important. Do you want to get him into the team as quickly as you can to get that experience out of him out there?
It's a balance between that and making sure his body's resilient and can handle the full game of AFL, and not just one game of AFL, but continue to handle the rest of the year. We'll work that out during the week. Know where I probably sit at the moment, but see how he pulled up in the Waffle and see how he feels as well.
Were you always thinking that next week might be around the time, or was your initial plans for it to be a bit longer?
Maybe a bit longer. Yep.
Is it going to force you to change?
No. Like I said, want to make sure when he comes in, his fitness is up to the level. Then he's at a level where he can pull up well after each game, but also making sure he's confident in his footy as well. So we won't rush him.
To be 0-2 after all of the promise over the pre-season, what do you say to the players to keep their heads in?
I don't mean to say anything. They're disappointed about the game, but geez, we're 2 games in. Sydney was 0-2 as well coming into today. So yeah, it is what it is. Improve our footy, just like we own what happened today. Improve our footy, take the positives out of it, take the lessons out of it, and we'll be a better product next week.
When you have the performance like you did last week, where did you see that the big corrections were today?
Our contest. Yeah, now just our ability to trust ourselves with ball in hand, and that goes a long way to buffering the opposition's pressure. Being willing to hang on to the ball for an extra second, 2 seconds. I thought that aspect of our game was really strong. I thought we defended our front half pretty well. There's going to be some things that we'd like to do better, but I thought by hanging on to the ball a little bit longer allowed us to change angles, allowed us to drive with the ball in our hands, and allowed us to create a little bit more. It's just that last bit going inside 50 was still a bit rusty, and we need to, like I said, need to make more of 31 inside 50s in the second half for 4 goals.
Is there any responsibility on the tall forwards for that lack of connection, or is it the boys going in?
It's always both. It's always both. Sometimes we just need to dump it to the goal square and compete our backsides off, but there's other times when our method forward of the ball can be better to provide better options for the kicker. So it's always a mixture of both.
Do you feel like that's an easy fix then? If it's just a decision-making thing, that's probably better looking at it rather than a structural thing?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Sydney a very good backline as well. McCartan went back there today, obviously. Shored things up. So, some of it's an easy fix, some of it takes a bit of time.
You're now heading to a derby. It's obviously a big week, just for legitimate sake, but you're both winless now, both desperate for that first one. 1 and 2 sounds a lot better than 0 and 3. Does it give you a little bit more to fight for?
Oh no, there's plenty to fight for. Yeah, play West Coast next week. Like I said, we'll improve on our footy. Look to improve on our footy, just like they'll be trying to do. And still a lot of footy to play this year.
And Voss seems like a pretty well-rounded player. It's just his goal kicking that lets him down. And what's he like at training in terms of goal kicking? Is it more pressure in matches, or is there something technical there he needs to explain?
Maybe a bit of both. Yeah, he worked his backside off, created a lot of opportunities. I'm sure he'd love to finish his work off as we would a little bit better. He's got a strong routine. Haven't checked in whether he was able to stick to that routine. But he's a young player, and he'll keep building his game, and it won't be long before he's able to finish a bit of that work off.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
That's the Fremantle Dockers press conference. Justin Longmuir speaking to the media downstairs, all about moments he began with, and Patrick Voss certainly had a few. 1 goal, 3, and an out of bounds on the full, and Michael Frederick spurning an opportunity from 25 metres on a 45-degree angle. A couple of moments that Fremantle will look back on.
And knowing Justin, what he's talking about there with those entries, perhaps what coaches don't like, and particularly Justin, are the shallow entries where the opposition can trampoline. They can bounce off it. You can't set up your defence. There's no density behind the ball movement. And so perhaps he was asking for his players to, late in the game, get it in deeper. You mentioned it, Cara, as well. Make sure there's front and square representation, and then set your defence up behind it, rather than have that trampoline effect with a shallow entry or a lateral entry. And I think the one there, obviously, with Voss was just a kicking error, a skill error that ended up being marked still in the centre square there. But if that ball, for example, had been driven really deep into the square, and then all of your players behind it can set up a defence, it's not going to bounce out of there. So I think that's what Justin was talking about.
I literally think watching that one, I can remember it back. I mentioned it before, Shea Bolton ran to the forward line. I reckon it was his last spurt he had. He ran, he pushed forward, he wanted it over the top in space. He didn't get used, and then he was done. He was so gassed at the end of the game.
I get all the structural stuff. I do, and I understand that's how footy's played. But you have to take your chances out there.
Yeah.
And they wasted a number of them. Like these were genuinely gettable goals. And you can talk about as many structural things and as many ways to go about stuff as you want. When you have those chances, you have to take them.
Yep.
We've seen Fremantle not do that for a number of years now.
Absolutely. Accuracy is just absolutely crucial.
He just quickly spoke about it in the press conference, Justin Longmuir, talking about timeframes on returns. Does Nat Fyfe get back in that side if he's fit? Like, who does he take? He's not taking O'Meara's spot. I don't think he's taking Matthew Johnson's spot. Does he get back in that side?
Reading between the lines of what we've just heard from Justin, I think the idea is there's going to be a longer build for Nathan to set him up for whatever period of the season, but clearly not next week or maybe the week after. It's about preparing him for the very long season that's ahead.
And that's what Joe Bridie said to us on Sports Talk here on ABC Perth yesterday.
I don't know whose spot he takes.
Well, it's a good question.
Johnson's gone to another level this year.
But there's also,
O'Meara's back.
as you would know, you've also got to make sure those guys out there right now stay fit.
Oh, that's true.
Because
things happen.
Attrition is the issue along the way. We did the votes, by the way, Cara, Peter, on the ABC Footballer of the Year, 3-2-1, and a 3-2-1 for the Christian medal as well for ABC Sport. Sunday footy, Clint Wilden alongside Mitch Turner.
All right.
Who's responsible today?
I've taken the opportunity this week.
The opportunity, I like how you put that.
And it was a very tough one because it was such an even match, and this is going to be a little bit funky, so please don't get too angry at me, Sydney fans, but it's one of those ones where, in the end, Chad Warner, I thought, was the best player on the ground. His influence in the last quarter was considerable. So 3 for Chad Warner. But then 2 and 1 have both gone to Fremantle players, and even though Sydney have won the match. And I could easily have had Jaeger O'Meara as the best player on the ground, to be perfectly honest. I thought he was very, very good over 4 quarters. So 2 for O'Meara. 1, Josh Tracy. 4 goals, could have been, and he'd be ruining those missed opportunities for himself. But just a dominant forward in a day really where the big forwards didn't have a huge amount of influence. So 1 for Josh Tracy, and then for the Fremantle players, O'Meara.
That makes it really easy.
Yeah,
but O'Meara and Tracy
and Nathan O'Driscoll. He still needs to just put a bit of polish on his kicking, but it's getting there. He's improving, and the point of difference, just his speed out of congestion, his aerial, his toughness. Aerial in ability to get the ball to ground, but he just competes, and that's what I love about him.
Gut runner, isn't he?
Let's hear a little bit from Dean Cox.
She can take you through every single fast food outlet in the country.
It's coming now. Ball's coming in.
They're just waiting for the last couple of people to roll in.
Good work. Well done.
And as you need to do,
One job.
put the football in front. Put the football in front while they start to set up.
Doing well, Tom Chadwick. Well done, the media man.
Got there. Just introduced Dean Cox to everyone in a room who knows Dean Cox.
Like a normal size ball in those small hands.
Not as hard as you want. Massive thrill.
Yeah, really proud of the playing group to have a massive changeover from last year. If you talk personnel and the youth that's come into the team. For them to experience and to play in a really hostile environment away from home and to rally the way they did, certainly after the start, was very pleasing.
What did you say to them at quarter time to get them back into it?
Just to realign with some of our focuses. And to be honest, at quarter time, the scoreboard, although it wasn't flattering, there are a lot of metrics that we looked at that we were actually going okay at. So it's just about sticking to that process, making sure that they understand that it is working in some aspects of the game, and we need to just realign back to that.
And then you got the game back on. Looked like the Sydney game.
Yep.
For a fair portion of the time. Then, did you feel like there was key moments you were just starting to win in that first quarter, which was always going to carry over once you got the scoreboard happening as well?
Yeah, I think at half time we'd had 19 front half turnovers. So the ability to be able to get the game played in your front half. We were +9 or something in the clearances. We were plus a couple in contested ball. And when you talk clearance and contested ball, that's where Fremantle win. When they win, they're so strong at. So it was really pleasing to be able to match them in that area and to try and get some ascendancy ahead of the ball.
How'd you view Joel Amarty's moment? It looked like he was done when he was hobbling off the ground, but came back and kicked the winner for you.
And to his credit, he's worked extremely hard over the whole pre-season. And to be able to fight through and find a way was really impressive. I think he was really sore towards the back end of the game, and to go back against their defenders, their quality behind the ball, and to give first of all a really strong contest, but then to actually do it and then convert was really impressive.
And it was Amarty's goal with about 2 minutes left. that gave the Swans their win, getting home by 3 points, 9-14-68 to Fremantle's 9-11-65. Peter Bell, Cara Antonio, thank you very much for your company. Cash Fodadar downstairs, Jesse back in the studio, Adrian Sardi, who does all the great work to keep us on air here in the box, and Mitch Turner. Clint Wilden saying thanks very much for your company. Round 2 wrapping up. Other results: Brisbane by 19 points over the Eagles. North Melbourne beat Melbourne by 59 points. We get started again, round 3. Next Thursday at the Docklands, it's the Bombers hosting Port Adelaide. Speak to you soon.
Listen to ABC Sport on your DAB Plus digital radio 24 hours a day or on the ABC Listen app.